The opinions expressed by tonight's guest do not represent the opinions or position of Spaced Out Radio, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with SOR Media. Listener discretion is advised. Here at Spaced Out Radio, we are about to take you higher. Broadcasting from the Rocky Mountains of Colorado to you listening around the world. This is Spaced Out Sunday with host Tessa Nicole Thomas. You can follow Tessa on our Facebook page at Spaced Out Radio, on Twitter at TessaTNT, and you can subscribe to her YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio for the archive. But we break on command 'cause women rule the world. Buckle up, space travelers. Let the countdown begin.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's time to go for a ride with host Tessa Nicole Thomas.
I'm such a lucky guy, 'cause after all this time, the deeper I go, the deeper I fall.
Good evening, Spaced Out Radio. Secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a Rocky Mountain high. Get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners and settle down snugly at mile marker 419.9 in colorful Colorado. It is Sunday, April 14th, Monday, April 15th for those of you on the East Coast and beyond, and this is Spaced Out Radio. Hope you guys had a rockin' weekend, an awesome day, and an even better evening. I am your host, TessaTNT, and I am live tonight broadcasting from beautiful Bayfield, Colorado. We are 150,000 strong nightly on Spaced Out Radio Network, spacedoutradio.com, Spreaker, Paranormal Radio, TalkStream Live, as well as Deep Talk Radio, which you can find at deeptalkradio.com. Don't forget to head to our website, spacedoutradio.com, where you can peruse the Spaced Out Radio store and read the encounter online dealing with everything strange, paranormal, and odd. So I have a treat for all my guys and gals out there tonight. Tonight we will be getting to know and hanging out with Ross Allison as well as Miss June Nixon. Ross Allison is a paranormal investigator, author, media host, lecturer, teacher, tour guide, and one of the Pacific Northwest's only full-time ghost hunters. Ross Allison is the founder of A.G.H.O.S.T, which stands for Advanced Ghost Hunters of Seattle, Tacoma. Ross is also half owner of Spooked in Seattle Ghost Tours and the PNW's only Death Museum. With only 25 years in paranormal investigation, Ross travels internationally to investigate paranormal activity, collect ghost stories, research cemeteries, and teach others about the paranormal. A lecturer for power performers since 2004, Ross has spoken to thousands of students and hundreds of colleges and universities, throughout the U.S. and about his ghost hunting adventures. He also teaches a class based on his book, Ghostology 101, Becoming a Ghost Hunter at the University of Washington and Tacoma Community College. Ross has written several books, including Ghostology 101, Spooked in Seattle, My Haunted Journal, Tacoma's Haunted History, Psychology for the Ghost Hunter, and is working on a haunted book series with David Weatherly, which they have already released haunted toys, haunted ships, and lighthouses with haunted churches, and amusement parks, Haunted Sex, SEXXX, coming out soon. His lectures have taken him to locations like London, Canada, Scotland, and Ross has worked with some of the biggest names in the field, including Jason and Grant from Ghost Hunters, John Zaffis, Rosemary Ellen Goley. He has also investigated some of the scariest and most haunted sites, including the Stanley Hotel, Eastern State Prison, the Amityville House, Alcatraz Prison, getting tongue-tied, Roman Catacombs, the Ancient Rams Inn, and the original location of the Exorcist case, where he captured some of the scariest phenomena ever encountered. And then we're going to hop over here to Miss June. June Nixon is the Vice President and Client Coordinator of the Advanced Ghost Hunters team of Seattle, Tacoma, A.G.H.O.S.T. But you can ask the rest of the team, and they'll quickly tell you that June is the heart of the group as well as the glue that keeps them bonded. She is an administrative assistant by day and a paranormal investigator by night. Her calm and soothing demeanor helps her in her work life as well as with A.G.H.O.S.T teammates. When she's not investigating, she loves to travel around the United States as well as the world. Her love of culture, history, and music drives her in her quest for knowledge about the people that lived in the places she visits. In the past, being a professional opera singer, she now occasionally sings jazz around Seattle. One of her favorite things to do when investigating a historic area is learn what songs are popular at the time and try to sing them as a trigger for a spirit to sing along or just comment. She's also quite the photographer and sells her pictures at Spooked in Seattle headquarters. Her favorite saying is, "Live each day like it's your last, and one of these days you'll be right." And you can find them at www.aghost.org. Also search for A.G.H.O.S.T on Facebook, and she also helps out with www.spookedinseattle.com. Hey June, hey Ross, welcome to the show. It's so great to have you guys.
Thanks. Nice. Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
I'm super excited to have you. So we were talking a little bit. When did you guys first meet? And before that, let's go to, when did you first start A.G.H.O.S.T? Did A.G.H.O.S.T come out before Spooked in Seattle?
Yeah, in fact, I had started a Ghost because I had lived in California and got to work with some of the big names out there. And unfortunately, California was getting a little too expensive. So I decided to move back to Washington, to my home port. And I wanted to get back into ghost hunting, but there weren't any ghost hunting groups doing any of this stuff. So a friend of mine just said, "Why don't you start your own group?" And so I did. And then as I continued to do my research, especially around the Seattle area, and I was traveling all over, doing really cool, ghost tours. And one of the things that I found was a lot of these tours were making up stories or dramatizing stories because, the main focus was to scare people because it was a ghost tour. And being a paranormal investigator, when you hear a really good ghost story, you're hoping that you can go in and investigate it. And then you find out this stuff never really happened. It was a big letdown for me. And with all the research that I had done through Seattle, I decided to apply all those stories and evidence that we had collected into a ghost tour of itself. And it just kind of took off from there. I started writing the book, Spooked in Seattle. And with all this material, I launched Spooked in Seattle itself. And it took off from there. We've actually been voted as one of the top ghost tours in America through quite a few media outlets. So it's a huge honor.
And
Yeah,
how
it's
did...
pretty amazing.
I'm sorry, June. How did you guys first meet? How did you collide and become the awesome, amazing, co-workers you guys are?
I can say that
She was stalking me.
No,
I had
was not
nothing to do with it.
I didn't even know. Honestly, I had no idea who he was. I had a little radio show, a podcast with a friend of mine, and he kept saying, "Oh, we got to have this guy Ross Allison on. He knows his stuff. He's this amazing, paranormal investigator in the Pacific Northwest. We've got to have him on our show." And I'm like, oh, it's like we're branching out. We just had Christopher St. Booth on our show, and all these other high paranormal people. And I was like, let's not have anybody local. And he's like, no, we're gonna have this guy. He's really, really good. And I was like, okay. so so we had him on the show, and I'm like listening to him, going, oh my God, this guy knows what he's talking about. He sounds pretty awesome. And then my friend Todd, who was the one who had the radio show, he invited Ross to come on an investigation with us. We were having at the Stanwood Hotel and Saloon, and so that's kind of how we met. And then, unfortunately, my friend Todd passed away, and so Ross kind of inherited me.
He calls it inheriting, but I kind of think that it's like I'm stuck with her.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, well, I guess I'm yours now. Woo-hoo. I'm here. I have my suitcases and moved in.
Right.
Sometimes if you ever see us driving by together in the car and she's driving, I'm in the passenger seat, you might notice a sticky note on the window that says "Help."
Help me. Yeah.
I think I've seen you guys before. That totally rings a bell.
You never know. We have driven through Colorado before, so.
Yeah, I lived in Marysville, Washington for a while, and had family in Seattle, and we have a friend up there. I think you are associated with him or know of him, Robin, and I've been talking about going out there and visiting family and checking out some paranormal sites out there. I have my own paranormal team out here, which I started because, like you said, there's not a lot of teams out there, and for the longest time, I just kind of stayed in the paranormal closet, and then decided to finally come out to help a friend of mine, and it just grew from there. And we do the national or world's largest ghost hunt every year, and I've gained so many members that way. Like it came down to just being me after a while, and then doing that every year, I've gained teammates, which I don't know what I'd do without. And you probably feel that way about June, right, Ross? I mean, you guys have that funny.
Do I have to be honest?
Yes.
Do I have to be nice? No, I do love June. She's become one of my best friends, and we have amazing adventures all over the world. So yes,
I agree.
That'll be $100, June, to say that live on the air.
I'll have sent the check in the mail.
That's awesome. And, everything does happen for a reason. So it's, really sad that you lost your friend, but it's really amazing how you guys were able to come together after that. And it's hard to see, like, how things were before and how they are now. Like, you just can't imagine them any other way.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm really happy for you guys.
And the thing is I was going through a big change in my life, too, when it came to the paranormal. And she just kind of came in at the right time and just helped me to find my focus and where I needed to be.
Yeah, it was pretty strange how it all worked out. It's just, you do say, it's kind of meant to be. It was very strange. If I hadn't have met this one person that introduced me to this other person, it's really strange how it all worked out. So,
but the funny thing is there was a chance of our paths crossing quite a few times. She actually was living in a building where a friend of mine was living in that I used to visit quite a bit. And the funny thing is when she was looking for a ghost hunting group, she actually contacted a ghost, and I would have been the one she talked to on the phone. Yeah. But she was kind of steered clear from that because,
Yeah. It was very interesting. I was looking for groups to join. It was about, I think, around 2005, as I was looking for some groups to join. Because when I first started wanting to, I had just gotten divorced, and I decided I was going to learn how to be a paranormal investigator. Because when I watched it on the show, I thought it was all a bunch of crap. I was going to go in there and kind of prove it was all a bunch of crap. So I decided to start taking these classes on, paranormal investigating and everything else. And then I decided I was going to find a group to join. And I was on my quest to find a group. And this one man. I was going to join his group, but then I said, well, I'm kind of thinking about joining Ghost because they're a really big organization. And he was like, no, you don't want to join a Ghost. They're just a party group. You don't want that. You don't want
I guess I missed all the parties.
Yeah, exactly. But, I come to find out he just wanted me to join their group. And, he was just trying to dissuade me from joining a Ghost. So, but he did say or if you joined a Ghost, you get a free T-shirt, at least. But that's all that's worth it. But you never got a free T-shirt in a Ghost. I don't even know where he got that from. So it's pretty funny, but yeah. So it's just weird how, our paths didn't cross for quite a while until he needed me.
Yeah.
So that takes me back to, with the paranormal and the paranormal field, did you guys have a paranormal experience early in life? Like, what drew you to the paranormal?
No.
Well, I always say I blame my mother. I have a mother that loves ghost stories, grew up listening to these stories. And it was just those stories that fascinated me throughout my life. I had this passion for the paranormal. And for me, I pursued it. So that was it for me. It was just the stories. And then I ended up writing stories myself.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty awesome. No, I actually didn't have any experiences when I was young. One of the things I think that I had some people, and my puppy died when I was about 5, and then my grandfather died a few months later, and after that it was one of those things that I just kind of got obsessed with ghosts, and then seeing if they would come back and things like that, and then just my whole life I've been fascinated by them.
Yeah, she dug up her puppy and put it in the pet cemetery.
It's like, come back to me, come back. But, it was the wrong pet cemetery.
Wrong one. Wah, wah.
Wait till she did it to her grandpa.
Wrong. Oh my God. Yeah. We won't even talk about that movie. Oh, but no, but it was just really strange because, there's so many people that had these experiences when they were, children, and I never had an experience. Maybe I did. There's sometimes I thought, I had some strange dreams, but not until I really started investigating. And that was one of the things too. Once I started investigating, I couldn't prove these things were crap anymore, because all of a sudden I started having some experiences that I couldn't explain. And it wasn't until I really started doing paranormal investigating that I had these experiences, and there might be something to this. This stuff might be, actually real. So I'm still a skeptic, but I'm a very open-minded skeptic now.
Well, and it's healthy to be skeptical, and not just fall for anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how large is your team? How large is A.G.H.O.S.T?
We're about 75 members, I think.
Yeah, I think we're around 75 members now, and maybe around 20, 25 active members. That go to a lot of investigations and do a lot of things with us, and on our haunted road trips. And
so we got a nice handful of people that actually follow through with coming to all the meetings, because we do have protocols that you do have to follow, and so there's a handful that will always come to the meetings, and then those people get to go on the investigations and of course participate in the training and all that. Then you just got those that just want to hear the stories and hang out with us.
Yeah,
because we're awesome.
Yeah,
right. I can tell. When it comes to your investigations, do you make it, like for us, we make it a rule that you have to be there for training and meetings, because we want everybody to be educated and knowledgeable about certain things and professional, know how to protect themselves and others around them. Because it is fun, but it's not just fun and games. It's very serious, and things can happen. Do you make it a point to have people do certain training and be there for meetings in order to be able to go on these? Because, like you said, a lot of people just want to come for the fun of it and don't want to come to the classes and such.
Oh yeah, no, you have to go through strict protocols and training before you can actually go on an investigation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you have to at least come to one meeting a month. You know, we have to at least, you know, have that protocol. You know, I mean, not only with, you know, bonding with your teammates, because you're going to be walking with a lot of these people in the dark, and you want to make sure you can trust somebody, and you make sure they have your back. And if you don't know the person very well, it's a little bit harder. But you know, when we do have new members too, we always make sure that they shadow, you know, I won't say one of our old members, but, you know, they shadow somebody, and so that they know, you know, they're not going to be left alone.
And it's tough too, because, you know, ghost hunting is really changing quite a bit. You know, you have to understand, I come from the old school ways.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things that I see a lot of groups out there that don't have any meetings. They don't have any training, no protocols in place. And yet they're still going out and getting involved in cases where they're, you know, getting clients involved in private homes. And yet they're convincing these people that they've got demons in their home and freaking people out.
Right.
And then, of course, you know, then they call us, you know, for a second opinion, and we have to try and fix the situation.
Mm-hmm. That's happened quite a bit.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because they are fear-mongering, or do you think they're just uneducated and they automatically just assume it's a demon, and they're just freaking the client out?
It's a little bit of both. You know, it really does depend on the team. I believe that there are people out there that really are trying their best to do the right thing, but they're not educated. And they're basically going on the concept that I've seen every episode of Ghost Adventures, so I'm now a professional ghost hunter.
Mm-hmm. Or
and that's not the case. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's a situation where I could say, yeah, I've seen every episode of Grey's Anatomy. That doesn't make me a surgeon. You know?
But we can try.
I'm not a doctor. I just play one on TV.
Exactly.
but
Scalpel.
that's what's and it's happening a lot more. It's monkey see, monkey do. And the shows are becoming more and more popular, and there's more shows coming out now. And we're not really focusing on the true root of the phenomena and trying to learn as much as we can, because, you know, these shows make it seem so easy. You know, all you need is a camera and an EMF detector. You're now a ghost hunter. Mm-hmm. And we don't hold these people. We don't hold them accountable for what they're doing. You know, they easily can come into the field and say, "Yeah, I've been ghost hunting for 20 years. Let me into your home." And the clients will let them into their home, not knowing if they've really been doing this for 20 years or what education or training do they have.
Mm-hmm. Right. Oh, we could tell you some stories.
Don't get me started.
To hear them.
Yeah.
We have 3 hours, you know.
Oh, my.
So what was your very first case with a ghost? Can you tell us a little bit about that? Like when you got your foot in the door and where it went from there?
For me or for June?
Oh, for you. Let's start off with your very first case.
Our very first case, our very first case was actually the Kalakala, which is an old ferry boat that is no longer with us. It ended up being scrapped. And it was an amazing case. I was really excited about this because they were doing everything they could to try and save this boat. It had actually was one of Seattle's icons back in the day when it served in the Seattle area. And then, unfortunately, as you know, newer ferries came about that could carry more cars, and they actually sold it off quite a few times. And it later became a cannery in Alaska. They converted it into a cannery, portable cannery, I guess you would think of as, you know, it was a ferry boat. And then this guy, oh God, what was his name? I remember it was Beavis. His last name was Beavis. I'm trying to remember.
That's
but anyways,
awesome.
He ended up saving the boat. He ended up saving the boat, and he brought it back to Seattle. And his whole goal was to try and refurbish this boat and, you know, make it a tourist spot. But unfortunately, it didn't happen, and he lost the boat.
So cool looking.
Yeah,
just
it was
pictures. Yeah.
Yeah. and he ended up losing the boat, and then it just sat around getting in worse and worse condition until finally the newest owner just scrapped it. And but it was great because the stories on it were fascinating. Back in the day, you know, they used to have live bands performing on the boat as it, you know, went back and forth. And a lot of people said that every once in a while in the middle of the night, you would actually hear these parties happening on the boat. And then there was a situation, too, where a young lady had committed suicide in the women's lounge because she had just lost her father, who she was very close with. And they used to frequent the Kalakala quite a bit. And after his death, she decided to visit it one more time before she killed herself.
Wow.
And they believe that she,
That's so
you know,
sad.
they believe she was still lingering around that area as well. So that was one of our first investigations.
That's a
Wow.
good one for a first one. There's a
You
lot
got-
of stuff going on there.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got to tell about the evidence that you collected.
Well, I'm just trying to think.
Kind of hard to explain, but
Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain. It's one of those things I kind of need some of the visual aids, but definitely I'm still working on, you know, catching up our new website with a lot of our old stuff. You know, there's, gosh, you know, you're looking at 19 years of, you know, research from the team that I still have to try and get up on the website. So
It's so hard and time consuming.
it
Oh,
is. It is.
it is. Oh, it really is. But, yeah.
So how about you, June? What was your first
Yeah.
investigation?
Well, you know, I was trying. Well, it's like I was trying to think with a ghost. What was my first investigation? Well, I know with you, besides the Stanwood Hotel and Saloon, with you, see, my friend Todd, who we had Northwest Paranormal Research Group, and it was just, Todd just had this huge heart. He just he couldn't say no to people, so he would invite all of these groups and people to our investigations. So
You're
sometimes
talking like 30, 40 people
Yeah.
on an investigation.
30,
Oh my
40 people
gosh.
on an
I know.
investigation. And I would
I can't
freak out on
breathe.
him and say, you got to stop inviting all these people. He's like, well, you know, they really wanted to come. They wanted to see the place. I was like, but now we have to do like quiet control and have all these people downstairs like be quiet while, you know, 4 people at a time go upstairs to the old, you know, haunted brothel is upstairs. And
Try to
you know,
keep 40 people quiet
Yeah.
at the same time.
it was just
Yeah.
crazy. So it's like, okay, you know, so that's one thing I appealed to Ross about the first time I met him at Stanwood. I said, is there any way you can talk to him about, you know, not inviting all these people? I said, I've tried and he's not listening to me, and I think he'll respect you. So, you know, could you at least try? And so Ross
So,
thought
yeah.
it would be a really good idea.
Yeah, so I invited him and June on an investigation to show him what it's like to actually have a controlled environment.
I was like, please. Because, well, the group I had been in right before that was pretty, you know, it was very controlled and everything. And the guy that was leading it was more military-like. And so we had a lot of nice precision and everything like this. And then I get into Todd's group and it's like the total opposite. Oh, yeah, everybody can come. And, you know, maybe we should have a few beers beforehand. I was like, oh, no. But, you know, he just was such a sweet guy and everything. I don't know if he really learned his lesson with the investigation we went on with just the 4 of us or not. But, you know, that was pretty funny. But I was trying to think that was one of the first places. But one of the first places I investigated when I came out to Washington State, and when I wasn't in a ghost, was the Oxford Saloon. That was it. That was one of the very first places I got to investigate there in Washington. But with the ghost, yeah, I was trying to think, what is the first place I investigated with a ghost?
Oh, there's so many of them gone.
Oh, man.
Well, did you go by yourself on the one that you had just
You know, June,
talked about?
I was going to say,
Wait.
June, most people remember their first.
That's right.
That is true. That is true.
I think Ross's feelings are a little hurt right now.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay.
So, damn.
No
It's
more
one of those
putting out
things-
for you. Oh my god.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you tell him, oh, but this is my first time, and you've already been doing it like
But
few
you
hundred
seem
times.
like a professional.
oh, yeah, that's what I mean. So,
I've just been practicing before. This is really my first time.
yeah, exactly. This is my very first time with you. Oh my god.
With
Trying to
you.
Yes. Yeah, it's like we've been to so many amazing places. So many places. It's just been incredible. So, yeah, it's really hard to keep them all in mind.
What is your most memorable as far as what was the most fun you had on an investigation?
Oh my god, there's been so many.
Yeah.
You got to understand too, besides just the investigations that we do with a ghost, we also travel all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's some amazing places that, we've gotten to investigate through that as well. And so, if you think of some of our favorites, there's a lot that really stand out. We just got back from doing our haunted road trip. I take my team out every year and we'll do a road trip across the country and check out some haunted places that we don't normally have access to. One year we did, California, and we did like Alcatraz, San Francisco. We did, where else did we go? We went down to LA and did some investigations there. And then, then one year we flew into Chicago and drove down to where was it? To New Orleans. We made our way down to New Orleans.
We went through Bobby Mackey's, Waverly Hills. I mean, just all these, not Waverly Hills. I can't even remember all the
Yeah,
places.
no, we did Waverly Hills. You're right.
Was
June.
that the same? No, not with Bobby
Yeah.
Mackey's, right? Oh my God, I'm getting them all mixed up.
Yeah. Yes, June. You're okay. You're okay.
I get senile every once in a while,
I know. Just remember, take deep breaths. Deep breaths.
That's okay. I have all the timers too, so I can
Oh my
relate.
God.
And then just this last year, we did West Virginia State Prison, Bel Air House.
It was just a month ago or so.
Yeah, it was just a couple months ago. And then we drove down to Gettysburg, Williamsburg, and ended up in Savannah.
Mhm.
So, there's
And
tons
flew
of
back to
investigations.
Charlotte. Yeah.
Yeah. But then
that was so much fun.
But then, when we go to Europe, I think, there's quite a few places that we did. We did a haunted castle tour.
Oh, wow, that was amazing.
Was that in
Yeah.
Ireland or where was that?
Oh,
We actually started in London,
Mm-hmm.
and we did Highgate, which is one of my favorite places to visit whenever I'm out there.
Highgate Cemetery is just incredible. You walk into the place and it's just like, oh my God. The statues, memorial everywhere.
It's like
Yeah,
it's
if you're-
Christmas for the paranormal hunter.
Yeah. Beautiful. Oh my God.
Well, it's
so
also
beautiful.
eye candy if you love that gothic,
Yeah.
old, cemetery look. This is the
Yeah.
place to go.
Oh, wow. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
So we went to Highgate, and then we started making our way up. And our first castle was Chillingham Castle, right? If I remember correctly.
Yes, with that trip, yeah.
Yeah, with that haunted castle trip, we went to Chillingham Castle,
I
spent
don't-
the night there.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Chillingham Castle before, but it's been on all of the paranormal shows, and it was on like Scariest Places on Earth and a few other, haunted history and a few other shows that it's been on. But it's supposed to be one of the most haunted castles in all of the UK. And it was really kind of funny because it was really hard to get to. And we had missed the bus or something.
Oh no.
To get there, and we were like, "Oh my gosh, we've got to, see if we can get a taxi." And we don't even know how far it is, and all this other stuff. So we were like, "Okay, well, let's just try." And so we get the taxi driver. He goes, "Yeah, I think I've been by there once, but it didn't show up on the GPS." So he goes, "I think I know where it is." So we're like, "Okay."
So he takes us into the woods,
Yeah.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
But yeah, that place was pretty incredible. And it had these haunted woods, and where they hung a lot of people up and down in all the trees in the woods, and yeah, that was wild. That place was
Did you
really
feel
cool.
like a crazy energy going through there, or what was your experience with that?
We did. That was the one where we got to investigate quite a long time, and we were in the old kitchen area, and all of a sudden you asked the door to come open a little further. So we've got that on video. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, so
and,
the door was responding to our request, so that was kind
Yeah.
of cool. It would open, you say open a bit wider, it'd open wider, and then it would shut, on command.
Mm-hmm.
So we have that on video. But I think our most interesting experience was, now, again, this is a, bed and breakfast type of, hotel type of thing. And so there were other people staying there as well. So unfortunately, we didn't have the whole castle to ourselves.
Right.
But the story was that no one can really stand to or handle being out in the woods around the castle after midnight.
Mm-hmm.
And we're
People will freak out. They'll have paranormal experiences that will just terrify them, and they go running back into the castle. So of course, challenge accepted for us ghost hunters.
Okay, let's
Forest
go.
challenge.
Yeah. And it was a moonless night.
Oh man.
Let's just say it was a moonless night. It was so dark. There were no lights anywhere close to this place.
Yeah, so we're relying on our equipment lights just to light our way around through this forest, as we're checking out all these haunted trees where all these bodies have been hung and bones have been found underneath them and stuff.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden...
Well, I was going to say, unfortunately, I'll say this part first. Unfortunately, since we were relying on the equipment to see everything, most of my video was aimed down to the ground so I could see where I was walking. And I didn't even think about,
There's an apparition right in front of June's, but she's just looking at the ground. Oh, wow.
Just to make sure I
look
don't
at those pretty stones.
But anyway, I just had to point that out, too. That was bad.
Well, it's funny how that happens, though.
I tease her because as we're going through her videos, here it is, all nothing but ground. I'm like, June, there could have been an apparition right in front of you, but no. She's looking at the ground.
But we did have an interesting experience, though.
Yeah, we were, again, there's about 4 or 5 of us in the woods, just doing our thing, when all of a sudden we hear girls laughing and giggling. And we're thinking, oh, great. Now the other people that are staying in the castle decided to come out into the woods and check it out themselves. So, we're like, all right, well, let's wrap it up. And since they're going to be outside, let's, the best thing, let's go back inside, so we can avoid these people. Because obviously with their talking and giggling, it's going to ruin any of our recordings.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of looking out to see how far they are. We can hear them clear as day, but we're looking out, and we can see the castle, but we can't see anybody wandering around. And again, it is so dark, you can't be walking around without a light.
No, there's no way.
Yeah, so we're trying to look around to see if there's any light or any source that can identify where these ladies are. And they're just laughing, and this probably lasted for a good, I would say maybe 5 minutes.
Do you think it was that long? I don't think it was that long.
Maybe a little shorter than that.
A couple minutes at least. But they were just laughing.
They're
and
laughing,
we were like,
and you can kind of hear them walking around, and we're trying to find where they are so we can kind of avoid them. And there's nobody in sight, and we're looking all over, and then suddenly it just stops.
And we realized we didn't see any lights whatsoever, any flashlights, nothing. And they are in the woods because we thought they were coming down towards us. And
sounded like they were getting closer.
Yeah. And then it was just gone. And I was like, we're not hearing them anymore. Why aren't we hearing them anymore? It was not going. We're not voices going into the castle. It was coming into the woods. And coming closer to us. And so that's why
we all heard it clear as day.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that is one of the things that people report.
Yeah.
Is you will actually hear ladies wandering around in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, oh my God, I think we just experienced it,
because we thought, well, maybe they went out to a car, but then, or maybe they're going to a car, but there was no car, and there was nothing. So yeah, it was that was pretty cool because we were really perplexed there for a while. Like, okay, where did they go? Because it was just like a dead stop. That was wild. That was pretty cool. But yeah, Chillingham Castle was a very, very cool place, and I'm glad we got to at least spend one night there.
Yeah, I definitely would love to go back. It's a pretty big castle, but unfortunately, we were kind of there at the off season, so we didn't get to have access to most of the castle. Most of it was locked up because of the season. But I would love to go back and spend a couple more days there.
Me too.
So we were just there for the day. Then we
Spent
took
the night.
train. Yeah, just for the night. And then we actually took the train up to Scotland, and we met our really good friends out there. And they treated us to 4 days at Roslin Castle.
Nice.
Which was amazing because we had the whole castle to ourselves.
It was just us in the whole castle. And I don't know if you're familiar with Roslin Chapel. This is just like right down the way from Roslin Chapel. It was featured in what's the
Da Vinci
movie?
Code?
Yes, the Da Vinci Code, and
right at the very end where they're in the chapel, that's Roslin Chapel.
Right. And so we got to stay in the castle. It was just past the cemetery, down the lane, and this like beautiful, and it was fall when we were there, so all the different it was just incredible. But yeah, we got to stay in Roslin Castle. That was one of my most favorite memories because there's this huge roaring fireplace, and it's incredible because all this family's history is all in the paintings on the walls. From like the early 1600s. And it's like all this family's history is all over the place in the paintings and the portraits and memorabilia everywhere. And like I said, this huge roaring fireplace and these down-filled couches that you could just curl up on with these big blankets. And oh my God, it was nice. I really want to go back.
And
did
then
it kind of take you back in time there?
Yeah.
It really did. It really did.
Because, a lot of the castle is in ruins. So you're surrounded by all these castle ruins. And there's this one house in the middle of all this that they use as, like a bed and breakfast. So you can actually just stay there. And so underneath this house, though, is 3 stories of dungeon.
Yeah. That you could go down and investigate, anytime you want. It's just like I said, the whole place was just us. They actually didn't serve us breakfast. It was just a bed.
Yeah.
It's like without the breakfast. But
so you can rent the place, for yourselves. Yeah. And oh my God, I agree with you. And it's one of my top experiences as well. To have this castle with all this history, you're surrounded by nothing but history.
Yeah.
History is so old you can't even, picture it,
It's just amazing that we were allowed, to be so close to, it's just like all this and nobody, steals anything or takes anything. They let people, rent this place. And, like this 1600 the tapestry that was on the wall from the late 1600s. And, it was
paintings, old paintings of the family members. I remember I can still see, like the pictures of the children, and you're thinking, oh, what a cute little girl. And you realize, oh, it's a boy. You know, back in the day when they dressed, when because boys used to wear dresses as children, Yeah. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And well, one of the stories that we heard was a lot of times with the invading, the invading clans or something around around Edinburgh, that I guess the enemies or whatever would take the little boys and kill them. or
no.
kidnap them and bring them to bring them to their tribes or whatever. But a lot of times the families would dress their little boys as little girls, and they would leave the little girls alone, basically, and not kill the little, girl children. So, because, the boys would grow up to be, fight in the armies and fight them. So they said that's one of the stories that they had heard. So I thought that was really fascinating. But
Yeah, that's very smart of them too. Let's dress them like girls. Don't even
yeah,
know the
exactly.
difference.
And then they won't be. Yeah, then they won't be murdered. Yeah, it's very
But
sad.
just going back to this building, and the history, it's just like you go through these different levels of these dungeons. On the first level they have electricity, so there's some lights going through there, but then you get down there and it gets darker and darker, as you go further down into the basement.
The water dripping everywhere, and
yeah, and it was just an amazing experience, and I definitely feel that we want to go back and relive that again.
Oh, definitely.
Did you guys have any issues like sleeping while you were in any of these places? Like I have the hardest time sleeping in haunted places, really.
No, I do too. My biggest thing is, I wake up, I snap awake anytime I hear the slightest noise because I don't want to miss anything. If something's going to happen, I want to see it, So I tend to be an extremely light sleeper when I'm in a haunted location. When I'm at home, I can, sleep through anything. But yeah, in the haunted places, I jump at every little noise because I'm just like, is this
really
it?
hard.
Is this going to happen?
Yeah, I'm always the last one to be asleep, and I'm always up by myself, and I'm like, man, come on, you guys.
Yeah.
But it's worse when you're sharing a room with June, because then when she starts snoring, you're looking at everywhere. Oh my God! Oh, it's June.
Oh, it's just June.
I know I do snore, but I think my worst thing though is I talk in my sleep a lot.
Oh my God!
Talk, I'm like,
He's
exactly
like,
what
she
she
never
does.
shuts up. No, I'm just kidding.
It's terrible because all of a sudden I was going through some footage. I had left the recorder going in one of the rooms that I wanted to go through some of the footage that I had, and of course, it was like, it was when we were at not Ballygolly. No, the castle in Italy that we were at, that we had to walk.
Oh yes, I know what you're talking about. What was that castle? I forget.
No. Oh my God, I can't remember what the name of it is. But anyways. It was. But yeah, I was going through listening to, because they said that I had one of the most haunted rooms, and when I was asleep, I wanted to see if anything went on. Oh God. It was just terrible listening to myself going.
She scared the ghost away.
I did. Darn it. But yeah, I'm really bad at that.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But anyway, I digress. So what did we do after that?
After Roslyn Castle, we took the ferry over to northern Italy, and that's when we stayed at Ballygolly Castle.
Oh, that's right. Northern Italy. Northern Ireland.
Ireland, sorry, yes. Northern Ireland, sorry.
That was an place. Yeah.
So we took the ferry over we drove over to the water, took the ferry to northern Ireland, stayed at Ballygolly Castle for a couple nights, right? We were there for a couple nights.
Because then we went over to the Giant's Causeway.
Yeah, we did the Giant's Causeway. And it was kind of cool because at Ballygolly Castle, their ghost story pertains to a tower that they have actually open to the public. You can actually go up there and check it out. And they were kind enough to let us leave equipment up in the room for overnight. So we were able to investigate that location. Really didn't get much. And the story, what is the story again? The father was upset.
The father, he wanted a son, and unfortunately, at that time, his wife gave him a daughter, and he started resenting her more and more and more and hating her. So he decided to just lock her in the tower, and so he didn't have to even look at her anymore. And the mother was so upset with this, and she begged him to let her out, and he wouldn't do it. So she wanted to, get to her daughter. And so she climbed up on the outside of the tower to go in through the window, and she fell to her death. So that's the story anyway. It's supposed to be the story, but it sounds like the daughter lived, and everything. I'm assuming. But then people see this, this woman. Was she supposed to be wailing or crying for her daughter, or was she?
Yeah, I think they called her the Wailing Woman.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Was she in gray or so? It was like the lady in gray or lady. They see her like just walking.
Well, wasn't she's supposed to be in a dark cloak?
Oh, that's it. That's it. That's right.
Because they even give you a cloak that you can wear and you can pretend like you're the ghost.
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of cheesy, but it was. But we still both put it on.
You guys were wearing cloaks?
Well,
it was a selfie moment. Come on.
Yes, we had to
see this.
put a cloak on. we had to. But,
well, and it's funny because, like, back in the day, they'd always blame the woman for this when actually it's the man who controls this thing. But let's not discuss that.
Yes.
So after that, let's see. We then took the bus down to
Dublin,
and we spent our last couple days at what was that castle?
Clontarf.
Clontarf Castle,
Dublin. Yeah, we that was pretty amazing. It was they had changed it into like this 4-star hotel. It was beautiful. Beautiful hotel, and it was incredible. But we went out to see the what was it, Glasnevin cemetery. I can't remember the name of the cemetery, but it's one of the huge. It has over 1 million people buried in it in Dublin.
People are dying to get in there.
Yes, they were dying.
Right.
Well, it was so funny because we were riding over there. The taxi, we had this great taxi driver, and he's like, just really nice, and just cracking joke after joke. And he goes, I was talking about it. He goes, "Do you know there's over 1 million people buried in this cemetery?" And I was like, "Oh no, I didn't know that." And he goes, "Did you know that all the people living around this area can't be buried in this cemetery anymore?" And I was like, "Really? What? Why?" And he goes, "Because they're still alive, silly." So I was like, "Oh my God." I just fell for that.
You're like, you got me.
Well, what about the taxi driver when we were going to Ballygolly Castle and he was talking about the furries?
Oh, well, that wasn't the taxi driver. That was the driver to going the Giant's Causeway.
Oh.
But he started talking about over there in those hills, the furries live there, and I was like, furries? Is that a new kind of little troll? What is that? I couldn't figure out what the furries were. Is that like some people who?
So she goes to the sexual fetish furries.
Yeah.
She's envisioning this,
Are those like a whole community of people that like to dress up in costumes?
Right.
And
I'm
of course,
scared.
Our other friend John says, June, he's saying fairies. The fairies live over there.
Oh, okay.
I was like, oh.
Now I got it.
They have a
mind out of gutter.
Yes, exactly. I'll get my mind back. I got my mind back. But they have a very strong. There's a lot of people that really do believe in fairies over there. So it's not anything to laugh at their beliefs, because a lot of them fairies and trolls and just like the people in Iceland, who have a strong belief in the
I think it's trolls in Iceland. They're big believers in trolls, right?
Yeah. But I think they're also, that's another form of trolls in Ireland and everything. But fairies, are a big.
But you also, and that's another thing too. I do have to say, one of the things I love about, our worldly adventures is you get to learn so much about all these different cultures and their beliefs, because it's not always just ghosts, wherever you go. You got all these other, entities that mischievous, spirits and, things that will cause havoc in their home. So it's not always just ghosts. And it's just fascinating when you learn about a lot of these different beliefs.
Exactly. Yeah, it is amazing. I think that's the coolest thing ever. You learn about their customs and their culture. And well, it's like that was one thing in Iceland. We kept seeing this like black Halloween cat everywhere. And I had asked one of the women in the shop, and I said, "What is this black cat everywhere?" I said,
why do they have a Halloween decoration during Christmas?
Yeah, it was like I just couldn't figure it out. And she laughed at me, and she said, "Well, actually, this is one of our Christmas traditions, that if a child does not get a piece of clothing at Christmas, then the Christmas cat will come and eat them. Eat the child." Eat the child, not the clothes, but the Christmas cat will come and eat them. So children are begging for clothes for Christmas so they won't get eaten by the Christmas cat.
Right?
Yes. And this is a cat owned by Santa Claus's mother. She is a witch. She's a very old witch. And Santa
she goes
Claus,
around eating children too.
Does she eat children too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't think it's Santa Claus's wife, if I remember correctly. She was just a witch, and
no,
she
was
also
the mother.
She was the mother, but she also had there was 7 sons that were causing mischief around the season as well.
So basically, Santa Claus's brothers.
So it's just interesting when you learn about all these different cultures. The giant cat that would go around eating people, and the witch that would go around eating people as well. They love eating children.
Yeah, there's something about children,
They must taste really good. But on that note, we got to go to our first break. So you guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after these messages.
Awesome.
Looking for nighttime adventure? Old school radio that delves into everything out of the norm. Then check us out at Spaced Out Radio. This is Dave Scott. Every Monday through Friday, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, we're going to take you on a wild ride ranging from conspiracies to true crime and every ghost, alien, and Sasquatch story in between. We're always live, and we're always interactive with you. So join us at spacedoutradio.com, where together, we own the night.
Hey, guess what? You can now get your brand new Spaced Out Radio swag at spacedoutradio.com. We've brought the store back with all new items for you to pick out and pick up for yourself, your family, or friends. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, we got it all. All you have to do is head to our website and click on Store. Choose what you want and it's shipped to you. The Spaced Out Radio store is right there for you. Come shop with us at spacedoutradio.com. Then we can own the night together.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com. If you're heading to Vancouver, make sure you stop by the official bar of Spaced Out Radio, the Moose Vancouver. It's the place to party in YVR. At the corner of Nelson and Granville, the Moose Vancouver is always up to speed with a kitchen staff that serves great food. All food on the menu, $6.95 to $8.95. There's a reason the Moose Vancouver is recognized as one of the hottest spots on the West Coast. Get your horns up for the Moose Vancouver.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch. Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
You can follow Tessa on Twitter at TessaTNT, on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio, and our website is spacedoutradio.com. Now, back to Spaced Out Weekend host, Tessa Nicole Thomas.
Here's a sound again, voices dancing in my head, smile wide, drowning slowly as the echoes rise.
All right, welcome back, guys. So great to have you listening in tonight. Tonight we are joined by Ross Allison as well as Miss June Nixon. Hey, you guys, welcome back. So great to have you on the show tonight.
This has been really fun. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed your guys' company and your energy, and I must say, just like you just did, Ross, it's been really awesome, and I've been really enjoying hanging out with you guys.
Well, cool. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. And I'm definitely going to come knocking at your door when I come to Seattle. Like,
please do. Yeah. You come and visit the Seattle Death Museum, and we'll give you a private tour.
Yeah, that'd be super awesome. I'm stoked.
That's how we get the bodies, is the private tour.
Yes, the special tour.
You have to sign this waiver that you won't tell anyone that you're going on this tour.
Yes.
So we had left off in, I believe we were in Ireland. Did we get to all the stories there? Are we moving to another country? What are we discussing this time on your travels?
So let's see. So we ended at that beautiful castle in Dublin, and let's see. I can't even think of the ghost stories of that one. That was just, it ended up being more of a relaxing adventure from everything, that we had already just done. So
right, just
Dublin was
exploring
just kind
Dublin.
of,
Wow.
So and then to stay at the castle was just a beautiful castle to hang out. A nice way to end the trip.
A friend of mine that went to Ireland was telling me about a certain haunted castle that was on its own little island. Did you guys get to go see that one, or you kind of just get to look at it across the water?
Where
you guys
was
didn't get to go on that one?
Oh, no. Actually, I was thinking the one in Italy. Never mind. I was thinking, no, we didn't get to go to that one. But that would have been cool.
Yeah, put June in a rowboat. See what happens.
Yeah, no. June does not do rowboats. I was like, Disneyland was pushing it.
Right? She could hold the umbrella and sing some opera somebody else is rowing.
Oh my God, that was terrible. Well, no, there is this one castle ruin that we went to up in Northern Ireland. We didn't go to it, but I got some great pictures of it. It was in the distance, but it was absolutely beautiful. I can't think what the name of it is, but it's massive ruins of this castle, and that's when we went to that. We had one of the stops that we could go look at it. Do you remember that, Ross?
There's been so many castles we've been to. It's hard to even remember all of them that we've been to, even the names of some of them.
But well, the first time we went to Scotland, our friends Mark and Eileen, they took us on this whirlwind castle extravaganza, because this was the first time I've ever been to Europe when they took us around. So they wanted to make sure that I got to see as much as possible, because Ross had seen a lot of things before, and he's old hat with traveling all around the world. And then when I came out there, they were like, "Oh, we're going to make sure you see everything." So they took us they
catered to June, and I was just bored. Like,
would
oh
you
my God,
you loved every second of it. But they took us to I think 7 castles in 6 days. I was something. Like, it was crazy. They took us all over the place. It was so incredible. And
don't get me wrong, yes, I had been there and got to see a lot of these castles, but going back a second time, you get to see more details.
Right.
Because sometimes it's so overwhelming for your first time. It's just like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. There's too much data.
Yeah.
And then you get to go back and you're a little more relaxed. It's like, okay, cool. Now you start to see some of the details that you missed the first time. So it was definitely a pleasure going back to see some of these places.
Well, one thing really cool too, it's like a lot of these castles are on some, my favorite shows, like the Outlander series. It's like a lot of these castles were, they filmed a lot of that, and they filmed some of the Game of Thrones episodes too in some of the castles.
Oh, wow.
There. So it was really cool seeing, they have a little plaque that says, Game of Thrones.
Or they filmed the Holy Grail there.
Yeah, that was in I can't remember which castle it was.
That would be epic.
Yeah, that was really cool. But yeah, we went to one that the Holy Grail was there when it said your mother smells with elderberries. I can't remember. One of my favorites, but yeah, it was incredible just to see all these places, and then all of a sudden you're watching some old movie and you see the castle there, and it's like, oh my God, that's Blackness Castle. It's like, we've been there. And so
yeah, I was just watching a Game of Thrones marathon basically today, being lazy, hanging out in bed and such, and there was a point where there was this castle where the walls were kind of crumbling down, so I'm wondering if that might have been one of these amazing castles you guys are talking about.
Yeah, a lot of them were in ruins, and it's just, it was incredible.
Joe said, "Your father was a hamster and your mother smelled of elderberries."
Yeah, that's it. Favorite. I love that line.
Joe is also wondering, do European ghosts have accents?
Oh, you know what?
You
That
know,
is
say-
one of my,
yeah.
my favorite things here, because for anybody who watches a lot of these ghost hunting shows, and you find that they go to other countries, and then when they review their evidence, I always find it odd that they walk away with evidence that tends to be English when they're in a country where English was not the spoken word.
Right.
Don't you think that's kind of odd?
Or they'll go somewhere and they don't get any responses because they're talking in English and you're in, Germany or
Right.
Russia or wherever else, and it's like they don't understand what you're saying. Perhaps you should take an interpreter or something like that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, one of the things they try to tell you is like, well, of course, after you die, you know all languages. And so you know how to converse with all people in all languages and everything like this. And it's like, I don't know about that.
That's a nice theory.
Yeah. Well, Ross is this awesome EVP. Tell him about that one.
I was, first time I was in Rome, I actually was able to get access to investigate one of the catacombs. Now, the catacombs, of course, are massive. I mean, there are stories where these things have been known to go on for miles. And it's not unusual for people to get lost in the catacombs. So I was able to convince them that, to at least let me do a mini investigation in a certain section of the catacombs. And in fact, to keep me from wandering off too far, they locked me in this small section of the catacombs.
Oh, wow.
Just so I wouldn't wander off and get lost. That's fine. It's still amazing that I'm alone in the catacombs getting a chance to ghost hunt. So I have to admit, I don't speak Italian. So I'm doing the best that I can to try and communicate with, somebody there, hoping that somebody might be able to understand me and talk to me. And I had asked, is somebody there? And you hear clearly on my recorder, it says "sì," which is yes in Italian.
And
That's
it's
awesome.
very, very clear. Very clear. So cool.
Was it male, female?
I would say male.
Yeah. Definitely can tell that. Sounds like an older man. See. It's very pronounced. And he was all by himself down there, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
And that's down in the catacombs?
Yeah, that was in the catacombs, and I definitely believe, yes, you can and will get EVPs in other languages. The problem is if English is your spoken word, you're going to try and translate any strange noises or sounds that you hear as English first, and may not even consider that this could be in another language. So it becomes a situation where it sounds like,
Yeah, that always confused me too, because you'd hear an EVP that they would get in another country, and they would automatically think, I think it says leave, or that's actually what Destination Truth did with Josh Gates. There were several times they were in different countries and they would get these EVPs, and one of the things they thought it said was leave, and I said, what if it's not saying leave? What if it's saying something else in another language? I was like, but it's like it sounds like they didn't even try.
Consider that. Yeah.
Or something else what it said, but yeah, that's what I always wondered too. But I don't know. We guess we won't know until we're dead.
You guys, did you just get to visit a small area of the catacombs? Did you get to explore like a great distance? How exactly did that work?
That was my first trip to Rome. I've taken my team back to Rome, and that was just recently on our last trip. We did a Italy
September?
trip. Yeah, it was in September. So we went down to we flew into Rome. We spent I think 4 days in Rome, and then we decided. My dream was I really wanted to see Sicily. I had always wanted to check out the catacombs in Sicily because they're just filled with mummies. And that was my biggest thing. Unfortunately, Rome, there's no longer any of the mummies. They've moved them further into the catacombs, so the public doesn't actually get to see them.
Oh,
If you
wow.
want to see mummies in Rome, you actually have to go to the monks. There's a catacomb or a church of the monks where they actually have this section where you can actually see all the monks. They decorated the whole lower part of the castle with their bones. And so that was the first thing I got to introduce June to when it came to seeing that stuff.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have walls built out of bones and skulls and such.
Yeah, they just all these monks are just hung along the walls. They took their bones and made these chandeliers and and these coat of arms and stuff like that. So it's just this
everything was
lower
made
part.
of bones. Yeah.
And it's because it was a huge honor for a lot of these monks to be laid to rest there. And so it just got overwhelmed with all these bones, so they just used all the bones to decorate it as well. It's kind of similar to if you ever go out to Prague, there's the Church of Bones out there, where a lot of people were buried there because what had happened is one of the priests had visited the Holy Land and came back with dirt from the Holy Land, and he spread it along the property of the church. And so this meant that this ground was more holy. So people from all over the world were being buried at this small church, and they just got so overwhelmed with bodies that they actually had to use the remains of the bodies just to make room for more death to decorate this whole church. So this whole church is actually decorated in human bones. So it's kind of like that, but with this in Rome, it's just all the monks that they use their bones. So we did Rome for a few days, and then we started making our way. We flew out to Sicily because my biggest thing is I actually wanted to see the beautiful mummy. That was like the first thing I've always wanted to see. It's been on my bucket list. And if you're not familiar with the beautiful mummy, I'll let June tell the story. She tells it better than I do.
Well, what is let's see, I can't remember what her name was. Can you look that up?
I'm trying to remember. Yeah,
it was like Rosalia.
Rosalia. I don't know.
It was a little 3-year-old girl who had passed away, and her father was so overcome with grief that he sought out this man that had this very special technique of embalming people. And so she was embalmed with this this process that no one really, knows how it happened, but she looks like she's sleeping. And you've probably seen pictures of her before, I bet.
Yeah, if you type in beautiful mummy on any search engine, you'll see this little girl that is perfectly preserved.
Yeah.
And she died in the early, 1900s, I believe?
Yeah, I think it was like 1910 or 1906 or something like that. But they have her in a little glass coffin in this place. And well, one of the things about this crypt or this catacomb is that they have people. I mean, people, they've been mummified and then hung on the walls. So there are wall-to-wall people with barely, maybe hardly any space in between all these people that are hung on the walls. And this is people, wearing, clothes from back in the early 1800s, late 1700s. But I mean, they're all just displayed all over the walls and everywhere that you can see their bodies. And it was just, I don't know, I can't even tell you the energy that was in that place, just walking through and being around all this and then seeing pictures of what they look like when they were still alive. It was just, oh my God. It was kind of life-changing. I don't even know. I can't even describe the feeling I got just walking through, and it was just such a solemn place. And then you get to this little girl who had passed, and she's in this beautiful glass coffin, and there are flowers all around her, and people leave things for her. And it's just, it was breathtaking in a sense. about her. But one of the other.
She looks like she's sleeping. She doesn't even look like a mummy.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things about her too is a lot of people say that she opens her eyes and closes it. It's like a paranormal thing, but it's actually a trick of the light. When you kind of go around, but a lot of people swear that she still opens her eyes for them. But it's the process that he used is just the preservation. She's just like she's this little girl sleeping in her little glass bed, and over 100 years.
He had only done this on a couple other bodies.
Right.
This is a process that he took to his grave. No one knows exactly how he was able to preserve this body. And so it's always been one of those things that I've always wanted to see her. Because I've heard her stories, I had seen the photos, and it's like I gotta see this beautiful mummy, and I got to check it off my bucket list. And like June says, you're in these crypts that are just filled with all these decomposed bodies all around you, and they're just stacked up on top of each other. They're hung from their shoulders, like they're hovering above you.
Right.
Shoulder to shoulder to shoulder to shoulder of all these decaying bodies still in their burial clothes.
Right. It's like all ages, every ages. I mean, from tiny little babies in their little christening gowns and their little bonnets, hung in corners. It's overwhelming.
Right.
It is.
Does anybody know how the beautiful mummy,
would...
aka Rosalie Lombardo, passed away?
I'm not sure. Oh, pneumonia. Aww. Yeah. She had died of pneumonia. Yeah.
I couldn't remember that part. Yeah.
Yeah, she died in 1920.
Yeah. I thought it was earlier than that.
Yeah, she was born in 1918, but she died in 1920 of pneumonia.
So, over 100 years.
And it's something that you would think that you'd actually see in a horror movie when you actually visit something like this.
Right.
But yet, it's still so peaceful. And, for somebody, our cemetery and our death culture is nothing like this.
Mm-hmm.
When we bury our dead or we cremate our dead and we move on. But to step into a situation where you can actually identify time, by looking at these people's clothes. These people were alive at one time, hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
And here they are, looking down at you, from their skeletons, and it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
So being surrounded by all these bodies and stuff in different phases of decomposition, was there a certain smell?
Oh no. They had already been mummified. I mean, it was
I smell jerky.
Stop it. Oh my God. So disrespectful.
Sorry.
He's like, man, I'm really hungry right now.
That would be really, really bad. But no, there was no smell. It was musty.
Yeah, it was musty, just like kind of being in an old basement.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to identify the smell of dead.
No.
They're pretty dry and they've been there for quite some time. This is something that they stopped doing. Probably a good. Well, she was done in the 1920s. You're probably thinking,
Yeah.
sometime after that they had to have stopped doing this.
You would think so.
Yeah.
I don't know when the last body, was put up. I guess you say hung up.
Does anybody... Go ahead.
I was going to say, you can look up photos of it and you'll see what we're talking about.
You're not supposed to take pictures in there, but...
Right.
Was it Capuchin catacombs, right?
Yeah, it was the Capuchin. I think it was Capuchin.
Was it Capuchin or Capuchin catacombs in Palermo?
Yeah. It was incredible. I mean, you just can't imagine what it's like until you actually go in there. It's just like I can't even describe it.
So that was one of our stops when we were in Sicily. Then, of course, we visited a couple other catacombs. Now, most of these catacombs they've already removed all the bodies because they're open to the public. So for not to spread any disease, and of course, you got tourists that are disrespectful and like to steal bones and artifacts from a lot of these places. They just moved them all to lower parts of the catacombs that are not open to the public. So we got to visit a few of those. So that was kind of cool. And then, of course, we visited a lot of temples. We went to the valley of the temples, which was kind of cool.
Right. It was incredible. We stayed at this little villa that, where was that? Agrigento.
Agrigento, yes.
Agrigento. And we stayed in this little villa that overlooked, in the distance, you could see the ruins, these temples that were, kind of in ruins. And
they're surrounding us, too. There's, is there, like 5 different temples?
Yeah.
And we could easily see 4 of them right from the pool that we were, outside of our rooms.
Yeah, it was incredible. And it was like, it's so cool because they light them up at night. And so you can see them in the distance, like that. And there are peacocks running around everywhere. And it was like, oh my God.
June was trying to catch them so she could pull their feathers out.
It was so cool, though. It was just like, oh my God. I feel like it was so surreal. It was incredible.
It was almost like you were in the Garden of Eden, You're just surrounded by all this beautiful nature, all these,
of course,
the wildlife.
It was 110 degrees there, too.
Oh,
so,
man.
So June was melting as she was trying to enjoy everything around her.
I was trying to enjoy it, and then the mosquitoes were biting me, and it was 110 degrees, and I was like, oh my God.
It's amazing. We were looking online a few years back, and they're in such a state of being poor and broke, and I can't think of the name right now, but there's these different villas with pools and so many rooms and everything that are for sale for like $20,000 around that, and it's just like, wow, like you could buy something and live over there if you had the means to pay for your everyday life, but trying to find work and other things over there, would be kind of difficult. But it's so beautiful.
Oh yeah.
If you do your own Airbnb or something with some of it,
That's a good idea.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Seriously. But you forgot to mention too, Pompeii.
Oh yeah, we went to Pompeii. Oh my God, I forgot that was also on our bucket list.
Yeah.
One of the funny things when we got to Pompeii is we had a little visitor. Do you want to tell that story, June?
Oh, okay. This was kind of incredible. So we are about a mile away from the opening, or the
main gate.
The main gate. Thank you.
It's called Main Gate.
Main Gate. Yes. we were about a mile away, and so we were
not a portal or.
We had a portal. It would just zoomed us there. Yeah, exactly. It's like, so we decided we were just going to walk there, and it would just be easier because there are about 8 of us, I think. Can't even remember how many of us of it.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
And so we start to walk there when all of a sudden this dog came up to us and started greeting us and being all happy and friendly, and we were petting it and everything, and it was like walking with us for a while. And one of the vendors goes, well, we don't speak Italian, but our friend Anna, who came with us, she spoke fluent Italian. And he told her in Italian that, oh, you're lucky. You're very lucky. This is the dog that greets all the tourists and walks them to the main gate of Pompeii. And we were like, oh, well, that's really strange. And that's really cool. And the dog stayed with us the whole way. And anytime we lagged behind or it got up in front of us, it would stand there and wait for us. So we get close to the main gate, and the dog sees that we're there, and all of a sudden just, gives us little kisses and, runs off. And so about, I would say maybe 45 minutes later, while we're in Pompeii, the dog finds us again. And runs and like, gets all excited, and we pet it and everything like this, like it's checking on us. And it's just the coolest thing ever. And then we find out there is a children's book written about this dog. And so it's a famous little dog. It's like everybody, knows about the greeter, the Pompeii greeter dog that, greets people to walk them to the main gate of Pompeii and everything like this. So he was a little famous dog. So he chose us to walk,
Out of the thousands of people that go to this place every day, we were the lucky ones to actually be greeted by the dog and be walked to the gates of Pompeii.
It must have been your guys' awesome, amazing energy. He's like,
must have been. We were so excited because it was like, oh my God. And then we saw him. But then...
It could have been the bacon in June's purse.
Yeah, you never know. I always carry a little spare bacon, put behind my ears.
That's very important detail.
It attracts men and dogs. No.
But
Right?
I will point out, though, that it was interesting, though, enough that we actually tried to give him treats and he didn't want anything.
No.
Wow.
That was the weirdest thing.
You think that this dog is hanging out with us to hopefully get some food from us, because he just looks like a little stray dog.
Yeah.
But, no, every time we tried to, give him a little bit of food, he just ignored it and kept walking with us.
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing. We were like, what in the world? But, it's like a lot of people think that this dog might be reincarnated from one of the dogs in Pompeii that comes back all the time to, kind of greet people.
To watch over the city.
So when that one passes, another one takes its place? Or...
you never know.
Interesting.
That would be very interesting. Thousands of years, same dog.
He's like, I don't take the tips. You keep your tips.
Yeah.
Exactly. I see a Benji movie coming out of this.
Huh.
You never know. But yeah, it was wild. But that was one of the coolest things about Pompeii. I mean, not the coolest thing about Pompeii. I wanted to see Pompeii since I was 12. After reading about it in National Geographic, I became like crazy obsessed with it because I was like, oh my God, this sounds amazing. I've got to see this place.
She's so obsessed, she's got millions of Pompeii buildings tattooed all over her body.
No, I don't. I have virgin skin. I have no tattoos.
Like, you want to see the Colosseum? I'll show you the Colosseum.
Those are my pickup lines.
Right.
Let me show you places. But yeah, it was incredible. It's just one of the things I wish they kind of would have done with Pompeii is I wish they would have, because they had all of the the people. The plaster cast of the people.
They're cod bodies, June.
Well, they had them all in one area all together in, these glass preservation things. What's
Displays.
The word for that? Yes,
displays.
That's a good word. But they had them all together, and it's like I wish, that while you're walking through all of the different places and ruins. Okay, yes, I knew ruins. Stop it. I wish that they would have had some of the people in the places that they were found, like maybe encased in glass or something like that. But I wish they would have done that because, for some reason it just because you're just basically going through the town of ruins.
And it's pretty massive. I do have to say that,
for
my first time being there, I wasn't expecting it to be as big as it was. It was a city. It really was.
It was a city.
And you're really, you feel kind of rushed because, to be honest with you, we were there for, all day, I think. We were
about 6 hours?
Yeah, 6 or maybe even more hours. And literally, we probably only got to see maybe 10 to 20% of the city itself.
Oh, wow.
I know.
We just tried to see the highlights of it all, but there's so much there that you could easily go back a couple more times and see more.
And I was so upset because by the time we got to their Pompeii's graveyard or grave area where they had these monuments built for people who had died. By the time we got there, I was so hot and so tired, and my feet hurt, and I was covered in mosquito bites.
Oh no!
She was like, "Just bury me here. Just bury me here right now."
I can't take it anymore.
It was basically like that. I was just, and that's not me, because I wanted to see every single part of it, but I just got to the point, was like, if I see another ruin, I'm going to throw up. And, that wasn't me. But yeah.
It was the demon. She was possessed, I swear.
Right. So did you get to see, one of the big ones that people talk about in Pompeii is the couple holding each other, or the mother holding the child? Did you get to see the plaster casts of those, or?
Yes.
Yes, the Lovers is the most famous one that people talk about. It was kind of interesting, too, because, when you get there, you start to learn about some of the new research that they're finding. And all these years, they've talked about, the Lovers, and they're starting to think that the Lovers might have actually been two men.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that's
maybe
one
they
of
could have been brothers, or?
No, they still could have been lovers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
We're talking Rome.
Right.
But yeah, that's one of the latest theories that we discovered when we were actually there.
Right.
And they could tell by the pelvic bones and whatnot whether it's male or female, so that's interesting that they're still looking into it and finding new and different things.
Exactly.
Well, some of these too, there's not even bones, because that all disintegrated in the because of the heat.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually just a perfect cast of the body itself.
The body
so they don't always have, the bones to identify things like that. A lot of that was, disintegrated as well.
So yeah, but those were that was skeletons.
Yeah, it's insane. Like how quickly your life can be taken, and there's little molds of you or whatever. It happens so quickly. Your body is still there in this certain, I don't know, state. I don't know. Is it because of the immense heat from the air that came off of the volcano, or?
Well, the ash preserved them. Wasn't there
some
something
of them were
about
covered
the
in lava? Yeah, was it lava? Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of it was ash and lava. And, it's just horrible to think what so many of them went through. And then you saw the dog, that had gotten caught in it. And you're just like, oh, it's just just kind of broke your heart. And so many times, you're just seeing all these people who clung together, in their last final moments. It's like, oh man. But yeah, that was amazing though, I have to say.
Well, and it's cool that the dog came to give you guys, the guided tour, and it kind of lightens the mood in a sense.
Yeah, it was incredible. I have to say that was just so much fun. We had to take a video of him as he was leading us there, so it's like, yeah, it's just so cool. Everything was just so amazing. I just can't even tell you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hitch a ride in your guys' luggage next time.
Yeah. I was really glad though when we went to Italy we had our friend Anna there, because there were several times that it was just like it was really difficult to communicate with people that didn't know any English whatsoever, and my Italian was basically from old art songs that I learned these Italian songs that I I knew a long time ago.
So for June to communicate in Italy, she has to start singing to you.
Yes.
They're all tipping their heads back and forth like, what is up with this lady?
Exactly. It's like, I think this is what this song means, but
So we did Pompeii, the Valley of the Temples, and then we ended up going back to Rome, and that's when we actually spent. Oh, actually, we did the castle before we went to Sicily. That's right, because when we headed back to Rome, that's when everybody went their separate ways and headed home.
Right.
So we did, before we went to Sicily, we did spend one night in a haunted castle. And what was the name of that castle again? Come on, I just told it to you, June.
Castello. Okay. I can't remember. Castello de Lucia.
And something like that. It's
totally
just
wrong.
outside. It's just outside of Rome. So you literally have to take a bus, or you have to get a cab to get out there.
We have, you should be able to, but no,
that'd be too
What?
easy.
June, did you have a bad experience? What are you trying to get at?
Well, at least we got didn't we take the train there?
Yeah, we
and
took
we
the
just
train
take
to the
bus?
town, and then we had to take a bus.
Oh
and
no, we were going to take the train. We took the train there, and then we were going to get a taxi to take us the rest of the way. That was our plan. But no taxis showed up. We couldn't get the app to work on the phone to get a taxi, and then we couldn't call any of them. And the one we did call, they weren't available. So we were like, okay, well, let's get on this bus and see if it'll take us close enough. So we're like, okay, well, we took this bus, and so we ended up
getting off at the next stop.
Yeah, basically. And it wasn't far enough. It really wasn't far enough at all. So we're like, because then we thought, well, let me try the app again. Maybe we'll find a taxi, at this place. And there's nothing around at all, just the highway. And
it dropped us off in the middle of nowhere.
And the dilapidated buildings that were kind of around. And I was like, I've seen this in too many horror movies.
Right?
Oh, God.
I'm just glad that June runs the slowest.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I would have been food for something. And so then we just said, oh, screw it. Let's just walk. It's like, the GPS or the, Google Maps or whatever said it was like a mile and a half away or something, or 2 miles. I don't even know. But so we just decided to walk. And so we just keep walking. I'm getting hotter and grouchier.
Oh, no.
And we're still walking.
I'm getting bit, these mosquitoes are insane out there. When I say insane, I mean they are insane out there. I can't even tell you how many bites I got.
June was a chew toy.
I'm gonna get malaria. I know I am.
Oh, no.
But yet, we're still walking.
Yes. We were still walking, it's like Ross was trying to be nice and say something funny. I'm like, shut up!
Don't talk to me!
I'm going to stab you in your sleep tonight.
This is all your fault.
Yeah,
Thank God she was too tired to pick up rocks and throw them.
And we're drying our suitcases too. So, it's like, so.
And we're still walking.
Yeah.
We're still walking.
And we get about maybe half a mile to the castle when all of a sudden this little guy in this beat up car that has no markings on it all, he goes, I'm a taxi. Would you like a ride? And I was like, no, we're fine. It's like, I told you, I've seen this movie before. No, thanks. It's called Hostel,
Right?
No, thank you. No, thank you. So it's like we finally get there, totally pouring in sweat, mosquito bitten, really sunburned, I'm just like, oh my God.
I don't know what she's talking about. I got a nice tan. I was buffed by the time that walk was done.
But we get in there and we're at the front desk and the man, I'm telling you, we had a long walk, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, well, why didn't you just call us? We would have come and picked you up.
Oh, God. You're like, shut your mouth.
Yeah. I was like, what?
It's right on your reservations. Did you not read?
No. Like, what? I did not see that part. It was probably written in Italian.
Right.
So anyway, that was pretty funny though. I got there, but that castle was pretty amazing.
It was.
Yeah, I can't even remember all the stories. You remember the stories? But my room is supposed to be one of the most haunted rooms, I think.
I'm trying to remember.
A cool room.
There was one story where one of the guys was struck by lightning on the tower.
Oh yeah.
And
That's
they
right.
believe that his spirit does roam the castle. I'm trying to remember what else.
He doesn't
I
even
can't
realize
remember all
what
the stories.
happened, and he's just looking for a cab, and nobody will talk to him.
Probably.
That's probably it. That's probably the story.
Yeah. But it was amazing. The rest of us, June was so exhausted by the time she got to the castle, so she went to bed.
It really sucked.
And captured
So tired.
demons talking in her room.
Right.
Yeah, that's where I left the recorder going all night. So, I could, I thought, well, if something does talk to me, or say something, at least I'll catch it. But, I only heard myself. I was talking to something. Maybe I was talking to the ghosts.
Yeah.
Could be. You never know.
But the rest of us, we actually found an access point that took us underneath the castle. And so we started investigating and checking out some, a couple corridors down there. And didn't really get anything. There was this really cool spot that went down further down in underground. And so we had to go check that out. And we climbed down in this little hole and we realized, we're standing in sewage.
Oh, no. Oh, crap.
I don't think I remember that part.
Yeah, that's all right. You don't need to remember that part.
You're
I think
sleeping
we
at this
decided we
point.
better get out of here before somebody flushes the toilet.
Oh, no.
Oh, I don't remember you telling me about that.
Yeah. So there was that. I think it was just a sewage drainage hole, so it wasn't like we were, walking around in sewage itself, but we were right next to the sewage drainage hole. And then I think that was about it. When we went down to Sicily, did all of our adventures in Sicily, and then of course, went back up to Rome. What did we do in Rome when we got back to Rome? I'm trying to remember.
Oh, we went to the the church with the big hole in the top. Oh my God!
Oh, the Pantheon.
Yes, thank you. The Pantheon. We went
Pantheon,
to,
June.
Yes.
Is that what the word you were trying to think of? It's
Yes.
round, big
Pantaloons.
hole.
Hey, you knew what I was
It's
talking
really,
about.
really old. Come on.
You knew exactly what I was talking about, though. You knew.
I was trying to remember what we did. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's right. We went there.
The Pantheon.
We went to that big round hole, not the
Yes.
Colosseum round hole. We went to the other big round hole.
We went to the Colosseum first when we first came out there, which was
Right.
and we also went to the Vatican, Vatican City, and it was so amazing. If anybody ever does go out to Italy and you want to take a tour of the Vatican, go on the skip the line ones before it opens.
Okay.
They have these tours you can get into before the museum opens, and it was incredible because there were several places that there was, nobody. We took pictures of the everything without people, the hallways, everything else. So it hardly.
June even has pictures of the Sixtine Chapel when you're not supposed to take pictures of the Sixtine Chapel.
Yeah, you're not supposed to. Yeah, this is
It's like my phone slipped.
You are not allowed to take pictures in there, and I accidentally may have snapped a few of the ceiling.
She was just really looking up her nose, not at the.
It was like I know I was very bad, but it was I can't help it. It's a disease I have. I have to take pictures of everything.
It's an addiction these days, right?
Well, what really ticks me off is I don't see why you shouldn't be able to take pictures of these historic locations. A lot of it is just to get people to buy their literature, their photos in the gift shop. They realize if they prevent people from taking pictures, they're going to go and turn around and buy the books.
Right.
That's really the whole scam of it all.
Yeah, and I know in the
Yeah.
past when there used to be flash photography and such, it could cause damage to the paintings or
Right,
different
I
things
can
like that. But
understand.
today
No
it's
flash.
different.
No flash, right.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
need to take flash photos, that's fine. But, and it is disruptive if you're, got people trying to look at things and people are flashing pictures. That's fine. I will totally respect the fact no flash photography. But, here's something, it's a special moment in your life. You're in a very historic place. it kind of sucks that they prevent you from, taking pictures or even video of something like this, because, it's those videos and those pictures that really help you to reflect back on that moment.
Well, especially with my memory going, so bad.
With your all the timers.
Yes, I need these pictures. It's like, oh yeah, I was there. It wasn't just a dream I had.
Well, and the positive of that is you can show people your pictures, and that'll make them want to go and check it out themselves.
Exactly.
They're not
it's
getting
not like
that
you can't-
perspective.
It's not like you can't look online and look up these places and see what it looks like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But,
Well, what kills me is one of the reasonings is, it's, you have to show some respect, and the reason we don't have you take pictures, you have to respect, well, especially with the mummies and everything like that, so, respect the dead, blah, blah, blah. But you can buy our, photo album. And I guess it's a respectful camera that they took those pictures with.
Yes.
It was blessed by the Pope,
Yes.
June. Don't you know this? Everybody knows.
The camera, the photographer, and the film.
Yes.
It was all blessed by the Pope.
Indeed.
So
it's sanctified.
Exactly. It just makes you wonder. You're just like, okay, fine. But the worst thing is getting the book. Of course, I had to buy it anyway.
Right.
Buying the book. But you look in there and think, oh my God, I could have taken so much better. These pictures, so much better pictures than what's in this book.
I think
And
the
it's
dog
just
took
like,
the pictures.
Yeah, exactly. The dog came with us and took the pictures. But it's very disheartening with that. But yes. But it was incredible though, seeing the Vatican City, and
Right. But I do have to say, with the Pantheon, the time we got there was just the perfect time, because it's one of those special moments when you actually see the sun beaming through the skylight onto the ground, and it's such an amazing experience when you get to see that.
Yeah. Along with the other 30,000 people that were crammed in there.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not very good with crowds anymore. I think the older I get, the more, crotchety I think I am with people all around me. And it was just like, oh my God, there's people everywhere.
She's going to be in her hover round running over people in the very near future.
Get out of my way!
I'm going to have my cane, just start whacking people. Whack-a-mole. Get out of my way! Oh my God. There were so many people there. I just can't even describe how many people were there. It's like everywhere in Rome. It's like every single place you go, there were. And we didn't even go with high tourist peak season. I can't even imagine what it's like there, during, June, July. I mean, the high touristy times. Oh my gosh, there's so many people.
That's
and
crazy.
It's just like, oh God, I just want to take a picture without any people in it. It's like, what's going on? But
To go out when everybody's sleeping or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But some of the places it's like that we stayed at were really cool. We did a lot of Airbnb places. And, we made sure we looked at the reviews. That's one thing that's really important, too, to look at reviews before you go. Because we stayed in one place in Naples. I don't think we looked at the reviews.
Oh, no.
Ross and I did not pick that place. So,
yeah, we blame other people.
Yes. Oh, but it was.
We still love them, but we blame them.
Yes, we love them, but we blame them. It was. I can't even tell you how many flights of steps it was to get to the penthouse.
Technically, 7 stories, I believe.
It was 7 stories plus the extra stairs to get up to the penthouse before we died.
That was 7 stories, yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
But most of this information we were trying to keep from June. The less she knew, the better, right?
Yes. Because I just thought, we've been walking around and walking, and then all of a sudden we get to this place and they're like, Well, first of all, they didn't know any English, and our friend Anna had not gotten there yet who could translate for us. So
Wait. We got to talk about the adventure getting to this place.
Oh my God.
So we're at the airport, and of course we had to take 2 different cabs because there was too many of us to fit in one cab. So we were the first to head out there, and we get into this, little car. There's the 3 of us, and he's not sure exactly where this is. This is his first time driving as a cab, I believe he said.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And these people drive like mad people. I kid you not. All right. There is no, polite driving there. You just force your way in,
Mm-hmm.
And there's no stop and wait. There's just go, go, go.
Wow.
So
yeah, the traffic lights, all traffic rules are just suggestions there.
Right.
It's like it was not mandatory.
So we get into this car, and this guy is taking us to our, B&B, which we didn't realize was in the heart of the city. And the only way to get to the B&B is you have to go through these little alleyways. Alleyways that are so tiny that you're lucky if you can get the door open on each side. He's zooming through these alleyways with people coming to the left, to the right of him, bikes trying to squeeze through. And
we're talking missing these people by an inch or two. I mean, just it was just like, I think we were like holding our breath the whole time going, oh my God. I closed my eyes several times.
And he's like, and the whole time he's saying, oh my God, this is the first time I've done this. This is the first time I've done this.
You're like, what's different this time than any other time?
Oh my God.
I wonder why the catacombs are so full.
Yes, exactly. But finally got us to the place where the alley opened and we could walk down to our Airbnb. Oh my God. Oh, it was booking, I think, .com was that one.
Oh yeah.
And let's just say that we get there and we're carrying our luggage around, and these 2 people see us and assume that's who we are. And we wanted to wait for our friend Anna so she could translate for us, but they couldn't understand when we said we want to wait. Come with us, come.
Come through dark alley. You're strangers. We're strangers.
Like,
come with us. We know you got money.
So of course we followed them.
Like blind cattle,
But yeah, 7 stories up, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. They're gonna have to I don't know how they're gonna get me out of here, but I'm just gonna die on the steps. I was about ready to just sit on the steps and say, I'm just gonna stay right here. Hopefully it's haunted and I can just investigate my little world right
Your
here.
little step right there.
Yeah, my little step. I'm not moving at all now. Oh my God. But yeah, that was pretty, that was really something. And it was supposed to have a hot tub on the outside. It didn't have that.
It's like back downstairs, down the road.
Yeah.
It was a rooftop. It was a rooftop penthouse, which was actually it was kind of cool.
Yeah, I have to say, yeah, the steps were the only thing that didn't make it cool. But,
yeah.
But I told him, I said, okay, it's only once a day for these steps. I said, once I'm up here, that's it. I'm not going back down.
It would be terrible if it was like one of those places where there's like one restroom for everybody and you have to go all the way back downstairs just to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, no.
She would be peeing off the roof. Okay?
Yes. I would just get a bucket.
Just prepare people. It's going to rain right now.
Golden showers.
Yeah, the golden showers for everyone.
Don't say I never gave you nothing.
It's so bad. But yes, it was amazing. But
yeah,
what was really cool though, because when where were we? Does that when we were going to Pompeii? Yeah, I guess it was. And we had started off when we were that morning we left really early because we had to get a taxi, then we had to get a bus to go there. Oh no, that was when we were going to Vatican.
That's when we missed the train. We missed our original train because we didn't understand the how it worked.
Oh yeah, how it worked.
So we missed our first train, so we had to wait for the next train.
But on the way there was nobody out anywhere, and it was a little scary, walking there. And I said, well, hopefully we'll, can find a cab. So we walked to this one place where they have cabs, but none of them were on yet. None of them were working. And there were 6 of us, I think, at that time. And all of a sudden, this guy pulls up with a cab that held 6 people, that could hold 6 people. It was just like, what? It was the weirdest thing. It was like somebody was watching out after us. I don't know. It was pretty cool.
They didn't want the June curse left in Italy.
That's right. Maybe that's it. It was pretty awesome. I was like, I think somebody's watching it for us.
Yeah.
Then we started waiting for $1 million. It didn't happen,
The thing is regardless of the haunted adventures that we always try to squeeze in when we do these, trips, it's just, again, just seeing the world and the different cultures and the history. That's an adventure alone. And then we just throw in the bonus of, it's haunted too.
Yeah, exactly.
That was our last big trip, was the Italy one.
Yeah.
So we don't know what we're doing next year.
Yep. I'm not sure.
Well, it's pretty exciting, you guys. Do you take trips every year to different places?
Yeah.
Or?
Every year we do a haunted road trip, and we also try to go to a different country.
Yeah. So, yeah, we try, We just have to see what our schedules are like, too, and everything.
But see, the thing is that it's what makes it more interesting is back in the day, I was the one doing a lot of these trips by myself. I couldn't always get somebody to go with me. And then, of course, John joined me, and now June joins me. And now everybody's seeing all the great times that me, and June and John have. Now we get a lot more people joining us on these trips. So
it's been a really
bigger
fun
adventure. Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome to be able to afford that. Like, I can barely even afford to go to California.
But go ahead. I was going to say, it's one of these things that when we try to plan at least almost a year ahead for some of these trips, so a lot of things we buy like pieces of it at a time. I will buy like a one-way flight to, a lot of times I like to go through Iceland first, and they have this, they have some amazing deals, it's like, a one-way ticket for $250 to Iceland. And then from Iceland, you can go to London or, wherever else. And it's just buying little pieces of it at a time, and buying like, a couple nights for, hotels and things like that. And
I think that's the biggest mistake people, tend to focus on is they think they got to save up thousands of dollars to do these trips. And if you just do it, buy it piece by piece, by the time you are ready to go on your trip, most of it's already paid for.
Most of it, and you have a little bit aside for meals and things like that.
Meals and travel, and that's about it. And
I got so into your guys' story, like we totally passed our break time, so we got to go to commercial right now. I know.
No.
I was watching the clock, then I'm like, so into it. But you guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after these messages.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rockin'. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Do you want to know what's really going on in your world? Do you have questions about who you can trust in the mainstream media? Then look no further than the Rebel Planet. Come get the straight answers right here at spacedoutradio.com. Join me, Jamie Sexton, creator of Rebel Planet News, as I fill you in on the stories behind the stories. All you truth seekers, be sure to tune in to Rebel Planet on spacedoutradio.com the third Thursday of every month.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you interested in advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Head to our website at spacedoutradio.com and click on our advertising tab. There, You will find an assortment of ways you can get your product out there with us, from radio commercials to banners and social media. Have a product you like our hosts to endorse? We can do that too. Visit spacedoutradio.com for more details.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and I want you to come on a nightly journey. Starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, every Monday through Friday, you can come hang out with me and the other space travelers. We have it all from Carl the Alien bouncing on by to those misfit gnomes causing havoc. It's 3 hours of fun and entertainment on those topics the mainstream really doesn't want to touch. Come get all paranormal with us at spacedoutradio.com, and together, my friends, along with our resident guitar god Bumblefoot, we own the night.
Sit back, relax, grab a drink, and listen closely. Spaced Out Radio continues through the weekend. From the mile-high mountains of Colorado to you, listening around the world, this is Spaced Out Weekend with Tessa Nicole Thomas.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. We're here tonight with Ross and Miss June. And I just have to say really quick, thank you to Bumblefoot for allowing us to play your music and to play that song. And if you send me your address, I'll send you a thank you note. No, I'm just kidding. But we're back with Ross and Miss June. You guys, welcome back. It's been so awesome having you on tonight.
Yes,
well, again, it's been awesome talking. Yeah. I do have to say one thing. I am so proud of June. When I met June, she wouldn't go anywhere unless she could drive there.
Yeah,
and getting her on her first plane to do these trips has really opened the world to her. And she's really overcome her fear on that.
That's true, because I was deathly afraid to fly. I mean, horribly afraid. I'm a teeny bit of a control freak, just a little bit of a control freak. And it's one of these things where it's like I have no control. I have absolutely no control when you're on a plane. This is, you have to like leave it to other people to take care of and make sure you land safely. And it really freaked me out. And also,
yeah, if somebody cuts you off, you can't flip them off,
No. Exactly. And it's like, if you and also too, I have this horrible fear of falling, like really fast, and turbulence and anything like that. So it really took me a lot of Xanax and a lot of tries. But now that I'm flying so much, I don't even have to use medication now. So I don't have to, but I still like to use it. But
now she uses the medications on the children on the flight.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my God. Oh, demon children,
Spawns.
Yeah.
Here, little child, do you want some candy? Really, it is candy. Try it.
God. You don't know how many times that's happened to me where a parent will their child will be seated next to me, and the parent will be 10 rows back, and then all of a sudden I'm like the babysitter of this 4-year-old little child that keeps kicking me, and I have to entertain them and play movies for them.
Yes, please just don't cry.
Yes.
Stay happy.
But yes.
So yeah, it's been amazing adventures for us, and I'm so glad that she's been able to join me on these.
Yes, we've had a lot of fun.
It sounds like an adventure for sure.
Yes. Well, but it is kind of funny because it's like
it's an adventure if it doesn't kill her.
Yeah,
right.
Because
She's
one of
really
these
close.
days, it's been very close. He's come closer to death.
Uh-oh.
Only because she wants to kill me.
Exactly. But it's so funny because we love to go, we love to find the places that are haunted. We love to do our cemeteries, go into different cemeteries. We've been to some of the most beautiful cemeteries, graveyards around the world. And it's like one of the first places we like to look and find the history and it's just amazing. That's actually anywhere we go. One of the first places where we look for is let's look at
Where's
the cemetery.
the oldest cemetery? Yeah, we want to dig up some bodies. Come on.
We don't dig up bodies. Let's put that disclaimer.
Oh,
on
I'm
now.
sorry. I wasn't supposed to say that on radio. Okay.
You stop.
No, digging up bodies is too much work. Come on.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh no.
It's when you need a couple interns or whatnot to do your dirty work.
Yeah,
I know,
exactly. Like the old Seattle in the very beginning of time.
Uh-huh. So does anybody have any questions or anything for us, or?
Well, that is one thing that I wanted to get to, being that this is our third hour. If anybody wants to call in with any questions or comments or share your paranormal stories, feel free to call us at 970-335-9596. That's 970-335-9596. And I have asked a couple questions from the chat room, but I think there was another one. Of course, Ron is asking, overtime? Are we going to go overtime? But we're not. But let's see.
Yeah, if June would just shut up. Come on, June.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
It's some of our most haunted favorite places.
I think we covered a lot of them.
Yeah.
And that's just overseas. We didn't cover a lot of the stuff that
I
we've
was going
done,
to say,
just
we haven't
in
covered
America.
some of the amazing places we've been here, even in Seattle. Well, Spooked in Seattle headquarters is one of the most haunted places because it's part of the Seattle Underground. And, that's like pretty amazing things because we're there so much. We see a lot of things that happen there.
Remember that one time you saw that person go into the back room?
Yeah. I saw a solid figure walk into the back room, and I looked at Ross and I said, I can't believe the audacity of some people. She just unhooked the gate that was there and walked all the way in the back. And I saw like the back, it looked like the back of a woman wearing a black dress. And
she's looking at me, giving me these dirty looks. And
I was like, I
what?
can't believe you're just letting this woman, walk in the back. And I was just like, okay, let's kind of head her off. So Ross goes around one way, I go around the other way, and we're going to corner her. And there's nobody back there. And we looked everywhere, and I was like, I know I'm not crazy. I saw somebody walk back there.
Other people's opinion.
Would you shut up? But yeah, there's so many different experiences there. And
the doll, one of the famous stories that we like to tell about at the Underground is our doll that we actually have. I had actually purchased this little doll for this little girl that is known to haunt this location because she made herself known by moving a chair around quite a bit in our Underground section. I had found this old chair that had been left behind when it was a restaurant. And so I decided to keep this chair, and so I put it in a room. And every time I kept leaving the room and coming back, the chair would be in another location in the room. And so I realized, okay, this is probably going to be that little girl that was known to haunt the restaurant that was there. So I bought her this little doll. And it's really cool. This little doll has a little wind-up key in her back. So if you wind her up, her head spins around. Because every child wants one of those, right?
Right.
Actually, I'm kidding. She actually has, she actually has a music box inside of her. And there will be times when, we'll be alone or I'll be alone closing down Spooked in Seattle. And as you're leaving, as you're walking by the Death Museum where this little doll sits on that chair, you can actually hear the music box playing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
And I have on a number of times run to that music box to, try and capture it, on video and prove this is happening. And of course, when you get there, it stops.
It stops, yeah. That happened to me a couple times too.
Yeah. And so there was one time we actually had an investigation team in there investigating. And of course, in this video that they recorded, the guy is, collecting himself and, and he calls out to his team. He says, "Did you get your balls?" and I know you guys want to laugh, but anyways, he's actually talking about ping pong balls, okay?
Right,
and
right.
so he's referring to the ping pong balls, but right after that, you hear the doll playing, and the team is freaking out. They're like, "Oh my God, you guys, can you hear the doll? Can you hear the doll?" Like everybody's like gathering around to hear this doll, and the team lead is trying to get everybody to be quiet so that they can record the doll. So he says, "Hush" out loud to shut up the team. But right when he says hush, the doll stops too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
So we got a question from Sharon in the chat room, and she's wondering, what is Ross and June's opinion on ethics in the paranormal field?
Ethics.
June, do you want to start with this one?
Well, it just depends. It's like, if you're going with a lot of the teams that are, have good reputations, that's a whole other thing. You just got to make sure too that the team has a really good reputation. But, a lot of the teams have, a lot of them have, pretty good ethics. I was going to say the ones that don't go off the ghost shows. But if you go and look at the ghost shows, that's a whole other story of ethics.
It's, as I was saying earlier, the role of the ghost hunter has changed quite a bit. We're finding that, and I hate to say this, people are getting really lazy when it comes to ghost hunting.
Yeah.
They're relying on devices that give them instant gratification rather than doing the work and having to review, hours of, recordings.
I call them fast food ghost hunters because they want everything right now, and they're just fast food ghost hunters. Yeah.
And we're really losing focus on the credibility. We really are. It's one of those things that a lot of these teams out there, because of lack of education, maybe even lack of resources, because don't depend on the television shows to prove or to show you how to ghost hunt, because most of these, and I've seen it a number of times because I've been on a number of these shows, they don't even know half the times of what they're doing. I've seen so many casting calls going out for these television shows where they're not even looking for ghost hunters. They're just looking for people that have a passion or an interest in the paranormal.
Right.
So regardless if you don't have any training or any knowledge of this, we'll still take you on and advertise you on a ghost hunting show as a professional ghost hunter.
Exactly.
That is true. You can look up a lot of these casting calls and see that in black and white. So they just, a lot of times what they're looking for a lot of these shows, and again, I'm sorry, I'm going down the path, June.
Okay, he's going down the path. Buckle up.
A lot of these shows, again, are educating people in the wrong way because people tend to forget that they're all for entertainment. They want these characters. If you want to get on a television show, it doesn't matter if you know anything about the paranormal, as long as you can cause drama or have a big enough, character, it'll guarantee you on a show. And you see this on a lot of reality shows, especially the ones where people get voted off. Have you ever noticed that the people that cause the most drama tend to stay on the show until the very end? Even if, if like The Bachelor, even if he has no desire or interest in this girl, but because she's causes so much drama on the show, he has to keep her on the show until the very end, and then he'll vote her off.
Right.
You watch that. You watch these shows and you will see that the people that cause the most drama tend to stay on the shows the longest.
Right. Because they're more interesting in a sense.
Exactly.
Some of us, they're more annoying.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, get rid of them.
Ghost hunting, and I was going to say, the ghost hunting shows are no different than that. And now we're getting into this big fad of demons. Everything is demons.
Right. That's an easy explanation, but not precise.
Right. And so everybody wants to go out and demon hunt. And it's
become demonologists. All of a sudden they've watched all these shows about demonology or demon, and now they proclaimed themselves a bona fide demonologist. It's like, where did you get your degree in demonology?
Right.
It's like, what the hell? Yeah.
I'm a self-administered demonologist.
Exactly. Yes, Bertha.
Amen, sister.
Praise Jesus.
But to get back to the question, it's just I really want to see ghost hunting going back to its roots. Granted, the technology is constantly expanding and changing, and hopefully we're grasping onto more knowledge as to what could be happening out there in the world of paranormal, but we still don't have the answers.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in this field for close to 30 years now, and I will freely admit I don't have all the answers. I don't know what's going on out there, but there are people out there that have been in the field for maybe 10, 15 years that claim to know everything that's going on.
And anybody who says they're an expert is full of it.
Right.
Exactly.
And I don't even like to use the word expert, even though I've been in this field as long as I have. I like to say experience.
Experienced, yes.
It's all about experience. There are people out there that say, I've been ghost hunting, for 20 years. But then when you look at their experience, they probably did one ghost hunt every couple months.
Yeah.
And that does not accumulate enough experience to say that you know it all.
Mm-hmm.
Like my experience started with experience as far as having paranormal experiences within my home and my life, and you feel like, for me and my family, it was open for us to talk about it and it was normal for us. But then you move from Siloam Springs to Fayetteville, Arkansas, and you start telling people these things and they're looking at you like you're out of your ever-loving mind. So you start to learn to keep that stuff to yourself. So I'm grateful for the way the paranormal's come out on the TV, even though it's over dramatic and it's like more excitement than you'll really find on a ghost hunt. It's more acceptable to people, and you can actually talk about it now without people thinking you're crazy.
That's true. It's one of the benefits of it, yes.
Yeah, it has opened a lot of doors for us, but it also has caused a lot of chaos and drama as well.
Right.
As I've always said to people, and as you were kind of pointing out too, when I first came out and got involved in ghost hunting, you didn't tell people you were a ghost hunter because, if you told people you're a ghost hunter, most people would avoid you.
Right.
Now, you tell people you're a ghost hunter, everybody wants to hang out with you and hear your stories. It's kind of like you're the rock and roll star of ghost hunting. So
weird.
That has changed quite a bit. You can freely come out of the closet. We'll have our own parades. It's going to be amazing.
I'm going to wave my black flag.
Yes, exactly. My skull flag, yes.
But you also have to understand this. This is one very important thing. When I started my group in 2000, we were 1 out of 100 groups nationally.
Mm-hmm.
Now, each state could easily have 100 groups plus. That's how crazy it's gotten. And a lot of times when we wanted to ghost hunt back in the day, we didn't have to pay thousands of dollars to get into some of these places. A lot of it was free because they were excited to have a ghost hunting team come out and investigate. Now a lot of these places are so overwhelmed by ghost hunters that they either charge for you to do an investigation or they don't even allow you to investigation because they've had bad experiences as well with bad groups.
Yeah. Lots of them, yeah.
There's places I used to investigate a lot and they've said no more. We've had too many bad groups come here. It's just, it's upset the environment. It's upset the owners. We're done.
And probably stir things up and they don't help. They just leave the mess there for somebody else to take care of. And it's like really very unprofessional.
Yeah, because again, people go in with this idea that there's going to be this instant gratification whenever they ghost hunt, and it's not like that. It's all about being at the right place at the right time. So when you go in there and you start provoking whatever's there, hoping to get some, hoping to get some results, and you don't get the results, whatever's there that you probably, I hate to say it, pissed off, it's going to now start to take vengeance on who's ever there at the time when it does have the energy to communicate.
And that's one thing I really can't stand for is provoking of spirits. Like, have respect. This is a human being or an individual. You're going to be a ghost someday too. Like, have respect for this person. And,
Right.
And for the people that own the establishment and have to deal with it when you're gone. Like,
yeah, exactly.
So Sharon in the chat room was wondering, do you guys do cleansings before and after an investigation? What exactly is your protocol?
My protocol is respect. We don't practice any type of ghost busting or cleansing or anything like that. You have to understand, I've been in this for a long time. I have been in some of the most amazing places you can imagine, even probably some of the places that they claim to be the most demonic or negative. And I haven't had anything traumatic happen. And of course, I'm knocking on wood right now.
Yeah, I was going to make sure you knock on wood.
Gotta.
Tempt fate.
But I find that what has actually kept me in the safe zone is no matter whatever I'm trying to confront, I treat it with respect.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that has protected me throughout my career as a ghost hunter. Is, even if it is on the negative side, I just try to, be as kind to it and say, hey, I mean no disrespect. I'm hoping that, whoever or whatever you are, that you want to talk to me.
Right.
And I give you that opportunity. And I think that has protected me throughout my whole career.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things that I have to express to people is if you are truly trying to be scientific about your research, you can't be biased. And if you're going to bring religion into it, you're already being biased.
Right.
Because you have to be respectful towards everybody's different beliefs.
Well, that's when it's cool when you can find the story of a certain spirit, find what their religious background is, because beliefs are so powerful in people's lives. Like, we had one that was stuck in purgatory because that was her belief system. So she was stuck there from like the late 1800s until 2012 when we went to the railroad station in Durango and found her. They were calling her Emmy. We found out her name was Kate Johnson and so many different things about her. She ended up taking her life, being Catholic. She stuck herself in purgatory on this boxcar. And it took a Catholic class coming in to free her from purgatory. And then due to free agency, she came back to help another spirit who is named Emmy, and she's a little child ghost, and we have the most amazing picture of the two of them together. But I mean, religion can play a big part as far as trying to help this spirit get through and past its own beliefs, but to go in trying to use that as a tool can be counterproductive, like you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, I've always said, too, how can you release a Jewish ghost with a Catholic priest?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's not kosher. Not kosher.
No.
So, for my team's practice, we're not Ghostbusters. We don't, go in cleansing homes or anything like that. Our main focus is to try and collect the evidence, to research and find out what is actually occurring in some of these locations.
That's cool. Do you guys have people that follow you? I know I have another chat room question, but do you have people that follow you as far as you go in, you figure out what's going on, and they come in behind you and try to clean up the mess if that's what's wanted or needed, or do you guys just kind of leave it up to the owner or, property manager or whatnot?
If there was definitely a situation where they do want assistance in trying to rid whatever it is that they're feeling they're dealing with, yes, I will definitely direct them to people that may be able to help them.
Right.
But that is not our practice, though.
That's super cool. Get on you, because like you were saying earlier, there's teams that go out there and just ruffle all the feathers and, leave irritated ghost spirits, entities, or energies, whatnot. And
even terrified clients,
Yeah,
they
don't even
scare the clients to death,
We had a case not too long ago. This woman told us that she had paid a man over $350 to come in and cleanse her house and get rid of the entities that were in her house. So she paid this man $350, and what he did was he made up this concoction that was kind of like Kool-Aid, she said. It was red, everything else like that. So he, gets his shamanic rattle out and feathers, and he's saying these words, and he's burning, sage, everything else, and doing all this stuff. And so he takes this liquid in his mouth, and he starts spitting it all over her house.
Oh, man.
So
Gross.
this red liquid is supposed to, keep the spirits away, and the spirits are going to see this, and they'll know not to come near this place.
Well, that'll keep me away.
Yeah. Well, what does he do is, he's spitting it everywhere with this red dye Kool-Aid stuff.
God.
And staining the walls, her furniture, everything else. And so what happens, like a week later, they're back. It's like even that long. And so she tried to contact him, say, it didn't work. Well, surprisingly, he didn't return her phone calls. And so then they call us and say, can you just come in here and see, what we have, and see what, you can find. And
I find that sometimes the best way in those situations is educating the clients. People are very confused as to what's going on, and we automatically go to fear. Fear is our default button when we don't understand what could be occurring. And in a lot of cases, it's not negative. It's not trying to harm you. It's not trying to, scare you off the property. There's this lack of communication that we have with the other side. And until we can bridge that gap, it's always a guessing game. But I find in some situations, when you help educate your client as to what could be occurring, and even in some cases, the best ghost busting, and it doesn't even have to be ghost busting, but is setting some rules, putting some verbal rules out there and say, hey, I'm more than happy to share my environment with you, but here's some rules here. And when we've told clients, when they set those rules out loud, a lot of things have stopped.
Mm-hmm. It's like they didn't know that, the spirits didn't know that they were scaring, the family. They didn't know that they're just trying to get, someone's attention.
Mm-hmm.
And, the family was terrified. And then all of a sudden when they started thinking it that way, maybe the spirit is just trying to get some attention to say, hey, I'm here. And then all of a sudden when they acknowledge this, it's like the activity almost stopped, in several cases. It is very interesting.
Yeah, and a lot of times that is all they're looking for is acknowledgement. Sometimes it's something more.
Right.
But we've got some comments and questions here in the chat room. And Dennis said, I got an exorcism approval diploma on the net for $9.95, and I can exorcise demons. I charge half price for the first clearing, then I come back every other week to Sage for $40 a month.
We're laughing, but I want to make sure he's not being serious.
No, he's not. He's just joking around. But there are people out there that do take advantage.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
And the sad fact of the matter is we don't hold people accountable, and we don't look into their history or try to prove, because you don't need a license to be calling yourself a ghost hunter or to be calling yourself a demonologist.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can do this.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why it's so hard to, overcome the charlatans out there, because there's far too many of them, and they make themselves look good, and they get themselves television shows,
Yeah. Trip in the chat room is asking, all the years that you guys have been investigating, how many demons have you guys actually come across?
None.
Just June following me around. Oh my God. And I'll go back to what I had said before. I don't bring religion into my team, because then when you bring religion into it, of course, you do become biased in a way. So then you start labeling everything demons, especially if there is going to be any type of negative activity happening on the property. But people tend to forget that there's a lot of negative people throughout our lives. There's a lot of people that we want to call a-holes, and even after death, they can still carry that attitude as well. And
if they're a
so
jerk in life, they're going to be a jerk in death, probably most of the time.
Right.
She's like, I'm going to be so miserable.
So, you know, just because it seems to have some negative trait does not mean that it needs the stamp of approval that it's a demon. It could just be a jerk, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It could also just be somebody that enjoys scaring the hell out of people.
Right.
You know, I'd
Getting
have
that
to
energy.
admit, yeah, I'd have to admit, sometimes if I was a ghost, I might enjoy scaring a few people, you know?
Well, we grew up on
You know?
scary movies. Like, our mom would play scary movies for us on the weekends, and my dad enjoyed going outside and banging on windows and freaking us little kids out. And so
mean.
yeah, like getting a big old rise and laugh out of it. Like, you get different energy from it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, with our knowledge, you know, I would say we have never come across anything so malevolent that, you know, we would label it a demon.
Right.
Right. I think the closest to it was when I actually investigated St. Louis University, and that is where the true exorcist case took place.
Yes, you'll have to
Oh,
you'll have
wow.
to tell the story. This is a long story, but it's a really good story.
Okay.
Do we have time?
We have about 20 minutes.
Well, it's not that long, but
That's not that long. All
Okay.
right, we're good. We're good. We're good. So I lecture at colleges and universities all over the U.S. I've been doing this, you know, for, 16, 17 years now. And I, you know, go to these campuses. I'll do my, you know, Ghostology 101 lecture. And then after the lecture, I'll take the students on a ghost hunt on the campus. So I was invited to St. Louis University. And St. Louis University is where the true exorcist case took place. Now, if you're not familiar with the true story, the story is actually about a little boy, not a little girl, named Linda Blair. All right. They had actually named him Robbie to protect his identity. Well, I was brought to the campus, did my lecture, and of course, now we're going to head off on our ghost hunt. And they take me to the building that is right next to the church that was involved in the exorcism. And this building at one time was owned by the church, but they have now sold it to the campus, and the campus utilizes it for classes and all kinds of stuff. So they take me through all the different floors of the building, tell me some ghost stories, and they finally take me to the 4th floor. And I'm surprised because the 4th floor is completely abandoned and run down. I mean, graffiti everywhere, holes all over the place. And I'm surprised at how big it is on the 4th floor. I'm like, wow, you know, I'm surprised that this campus isn't utilizing this space, you know, for various different things. But they said that they've had so many problems on the 4th floor, and they're referring to paranormal problems, that they've completely shut it down. So we go through all the different rooms, and they're telling me the history that, you know, used to be Sunday schools up there, and you could see the old classrooms, and the chalkboards are still on the wall. The nuns used to live up in the smaller rooms, and you can see there was some rooms up there. And all of a sudden, we walk into this one room, and right when I walked in the room, I heard this crunch underneath my feet. And I looked down, and I realized I had stepped on a dead bird. Now, that's not unusual for us ghost hunters that investigate a lot of abandoned places. You know, you run into a dead animal every once in a while. So I just kind of kicked it over to the side so no one else would step on it. But to my surprise, when I shined my light through the rest of the room was just filled with dozens and dozens of dead birds. Now, what makes this really odd is the fact that security had removed all the doors on the 4th floor. And the reason for this is because they've had too many problems with students constantly sneaking up there to scare each other. So to make it easier for them to do their rounds, they just got rid of all the doors. So I realized I've walked through most of the whole 4th floor. Why did these birds all choose to die in this one room when they had access to the whole 4th floor? Well, come to find out, this is the room that the boy had stayed in.
Holy crap.
Now, the story is that they had to perform multiple exorcisms on this boy because they believed that they performed a full exorcism on the boy in the church, this could possibly kill him. So they moved them to various locations, secret locations, and every time they performed an exorcism, they'd move them to another location. Because the belief that it's not just one demon, it's, legion of multiple demons.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm now standing in this room, and they tell me that this is the room that the boy had stayed in. Okay, filled with dead birds, creep factor's just gone up a bit. Now, I give some of the students some of the basic equipment for their, little investigation with me. And we're in this room for less than 5 minutes when all of a sudden all the equipment goes off at the exact same time. We're talking the temperature starts to drop in the room. And I literally can feel the room getting colder and colder, almost to the point where I'm expected to see my breath anytime soon. The EMF detector is going off like crazy, and we can't figure out what's causing the EMF readings. The compass is spinning around and around and around, and it will not stop.
Yeah,
and I'm realizing, holy crap, this is really happening. So I got to prove that we're really experiencing this. Now, a picture is not going to prove that. So luckily, my camera shoots an infrared video. So I switch my camera over to infrared video, and I start filming everything that's going on. And I'm, filming the students, I'm filming the equipment, and then it starts to slow down a little bit. So I realized, okay, before it completely stops, I should probably try for some EVP. So I start asking questions into the air. And I finally get to the question. I said, can you tell me whose room this is? Now, there's about 12 seconds of silence. Then all of a sudden, I start to hear crying to the left of me.
Aww.
And I turn and I realize that a couple of the female students have started to cry because they're so terrified being in this room. And I have to admit, I'm a little uncomfortable too. So I decide, you know what, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Because I don't know, again, what we're up against. But for me, it's always safety first.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have my normal ghost hunting team. This is a bunch of college students following me around.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to wrap it up. And I was hoping to come back later to, investigate some more. Well, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to go back that night to do my investigation. And when I finished up my lecture tour, I finally got home and started reviewing all the evidence that I collected at all these campuses. And I get to the part of the video where I'd ask, can you tell me, whose room this is? Right after I'd asked that question, you can hear what sounds like a very disgruntled male says, and I'm going to edit this because I know there's no swearing, F you. It's mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if it ever came close to demons, that would probably be the closest I had ever gotten.
Yeah. I'm sorry. That's insane. F you, this is mine. Moving right along, let's go back downstairs to the main portal. Investigate there.
Yes, please move.
Moving right along, nothing to see here. Sharon's asking, what sets you guys apart from typical ghost hunters, aka stereotypes of ghost hunters?
Well, I really think that we are very focused on the technical aspect. We are, we've got thousands and thousands of dollars worth of equipment. I really do focus on experiments. I also focus on not forgetting our roots. The thing is everybody's so focused on the new gadgets like ghosts, the ghost boxes and the ovuluses and stuff like that. We don't use those on our investigations. We really do focus on trying to collect what I say is more solid evidence rather than suggestive evidence that you find with a lot of the tools that people like to use nowadays for ghost hunting. And I only say that because, when it comes to the psychology of it, like I've been working on the book Psychology for the Ghost Hunter. It's so easy to manipulate ourselves into believing that what we're experiencing is paranormal when it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really try to push my team to be more skeptical, to really apply critical thinking and common sense. I find that a lot of teams don't even apply common sense to their investigation methods. And I really feel that a lot of that is what really keeps us different from a lot of the other teams. I find and I've been a guest investigator on a lot of teams. A lot of teams don't even apply protocols or any type of training as well. I've seen so many groups that when somebody emails them and says, "Hey, I think I might be a psychic," they're a psychic on their next investigation.
Right.
And it's like, what? Who is this person? Do you know this person? No, but they said they were psychic. Well, how do you know that?
And then front loading, the people that claim to be psychics with a lot of information before you go to the place, which,
In fact, I don't even allow my team to know where they're going when they do an investigation.
That's what I like to do. Go in cold and then find out how on you are afterwards and go do your homework then.
Right.
And write everything down.
The only thing my team will know when they sign up for an investigation is what city it takes place in and if it's a private home or a business. That is it. That is all they're allowed to know. The only person that should know going into an investigation is the team lead. And that's only because you do need somebody there to plan out the investigation and know exactly where you want to focus your attention on.
Exactly.
Trip was wondering, do you guys have to pay for any sort of extra or different type of insurance? I don't even know if there is insurance for this.
There's business insurances that you can get to protect your equipment, which we do have, especially when you're lugging around, easily a $40,000 camera. It can get very, expensive. And I've always told people what you put into it is what you get out of it. And that applies to so many different aspects when it comes to paranormal research.
Yeah, I've told people, you can go broke doing this. Everybody, get in line.
Oh, yeah. Believe me. You would not, it's a disease. It's like all of a sudden it's like, oh, that new camera's out. Oh, I really shouldn't get it, but...
I've got $5,000 on my credit card. Sure.
Right.
A little more on my credit card.
Well, if you wait a little bit, the price goes down. Like when those Connect cameras or whatnot came out. At first, they were like thousands and thousands of dollars. Now you can get them for $300 or $400. So it's good to wait and be patient and wait for the ball to drop.
Even less than that, if you check out a lot of the thrift stores and things like, or pawn shops, it's like, wow, you can get some really good deals there.
Right. Man, if you find a deal like that at a pawn shop, let me know.
You talk to Ross. It's amazing some of the things he finds. He loves checking out the electronics areas in pawn shops.
Yeah, that's where I always go because I originally started off as a videographer and a photographer and then moved on to different aspects of means doing paranormal investigation and then regular security and investigation. But that is the main place I go when I go into a pawn shop is electronics because holy shnikes, you can find some really good deals or epic things like people would never expect to find there. And you're just like, oh
exactly. Yeah, Ross is the king of that. It's amazing some of the deals he's found.
Yeah, June will come to a meeting and say, oh, look at this really cool recorder, this Zoom recorder that I got was, I got it for $300 on sale. I was like, oh, June, look at this really cool Zoom recorder that I got at a pawn shop for $100.
Right?
Same model.
Damn you.
Drats. Foiled again.
Exactly.
Dennis was asking, what protection do you guys use from negative energies?
Well, again, it just all goes back to, I use respect. I'm not going to go into a place where it very well could be negative. I'm not going to provoke it. I'm not going to be disrespectful. I'm going to be like, okay, buddy, you might be here. I'm hoping you will talk to me. I mean you no disrespect. I'm just giving you a chance to, tell me why you're here.
Exactly.
It's as simple as that.
And there are some times that if I'm ever in a situation where I'm feeling really uncomfortable, I can't say that I've really gotten scared. I've been, startled and things like that. But, if I'm starting to feel really uncomfortable and uneasy, it's like that is sometimes I will try to, really try to center myself a lot, more, take a deep breath, and just kind of, imagine just being protected by, a white light, surrounding me sometimes. It just kind of helps just to kind of center myself and relax myself, and then, and
June, just
feeling
be
away.
honest. You pee all over the place and say, "This is my property now."
It's mine.
Ye shall not pass.
Yeah, exactly. I lick the post and say, "You can't pass this."
It's
mine now.
Mine.
And I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. This is where ghost hunting crosses so many different lines, just like religion does as well. There's a lot of situations where people apply themselves in different ways when it comes to ghost hunting. You can come across the groups that just want to focus on just the technical aspect of it, which is great, but you can also be very, too technical. And usually when you become too technical, you also find that they're also too skeptical as well. But then you can also find that are groups that are too metaphysical. They want to focus on, I don't like to use the word woo-woo part of it, but just the metaphysical element of ghost hunting, where they just want to focus on using psychic abilities or, dowsing rods or pendulums or even Ouija boards to conduct their investigation. And I find that the best way to conduct yourself as an investigation is you kind of have to walk that thin line between the two of them. You don't want to be too metaphysical, because I've always said you can't use the paranormal to prove the paranormal. But you don't want to be too, technical as well, because then it's too complicated, and you could easily miss out on some of the basics when it comes to trying to communicate with the other side. So if you can try and find a middle ground for your team, that's always going to be better.
Robin was wondering...
I hope that answers some questions.
Yes, I think it answered a lot for me and for the question we just had. Robin was wondering, when will you guys go back on your website to investigate? Were you guys doing live investigations on there, or trying to understand what he's saying?
Sometimes.
Oh, the live feeds? Yeah. I think a lot of it, when was the last time we actually had the opportunity? I think we were just gets distracted.
Yeah.
The one thing that I found, and I kind of got in trouble for this, and I see their point, is, it's great to do the live feeds when you're doing an investigation, but we also find that it can be very distracting, because then you're in a situation where you're focused on entertaining your audience and not focusing on the actual investigation.
Right.
And there was a point in our past where we were doing that a little too much. And it is kind of like we realized, oh shit, we're not really, putting forth the time and energy in some of these places, because we find ourselves too focused on entertaining the audience, because, no one wants to just sit there and watch you sitting around in the dark doing nothing except waiting for something to happen.
Right.
I'm sorry, but that's ghost hunting,
Well,
that's how it works.
Not only that, we had a lot of people that were like, oh, please, can you at least go on, for a little bit, and just because we just want to, feel like we're there with you. And so,
and that's fine. We've opened ourselves up to do a little bit of an intro, a quick walkthrough of the location that we're investigating. Here's where we're going to be tonight. So here's some of the rooms. Here's some of the ghost stories. Sorry, we can't stay on all night. We got our job to do, but thanks for, tuning in for a little bit. I think that's as best as it should be.
Exactly.
So I'm
Did we lose everybody?
No.
Did everybody die? Did they all fall asleep on us? Are you talking too much again?
Okay, so he reiterated with, my question is, when will put you Heights is a place to investigate. When will it be back on your website? What is that? Something Heights?
Oh, University
Heights.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
that's what
are we
it is.
talking about the Spooked in Seattle public ghost hunts? Is that what he means?
I believe so, but we're actually at the end of our time, so if you guys want to come into the after party for a little bit, we can answer that for Robin. But at this point, I'd like to thank you guys again for being on the show this evening. It's been really amazing. Can you tell our listeners where and how to find you and find out more about you and your group?
Yeah, definitely look up Ross Allison Ghost Hunter on Facebook and follow me. As we were talking about, we do live feeds from a lot of the places we visit all over the world. You can also find my books at Amazon. So you look up Ross Allison. I have my own page with my books there, so check that out. Spooked in Seattle at spookedinseattle.com. If you're ever in the Seattle area and want to do some ghost tours or even ghost hunts, check us out for that. And most of all, if you want to learn more about a ghost, just visit our website at aghost.org.
Yep. And I'm with him on that, too.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for coming out tonight and being my guest. Like I said,
thank
it was
you.
so awesome and wonderful having you guys, and I really did have a great time, and I do hope to have you guys back sometime in the near future.
I love it. It was so much fun.
And I want to thank everyone in Spaced Out Radio, Facebook, Spreaker, Twitter, Paranormal Radio, TalkStream Live, Deep Talk Radio, and wherever else in the universe you may have been listening tonight. I had a wonderful time this evening, and it was my pleasure, literally and figuratively, and I can't wait to do it again next weekend on spacedoutradio.com. You guys, I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you back here next weekend. Until next time, thank you. It was so great having you guys. And until next time, nighty night, love and light to all my space cases out there. You guys don't forget, we are all in this together. Together we can make the world a little better. And together, my friends, we own the night. Thank you again to June and Ross. You guys were awesome.
Anytime.
Wonderful.
And for all of our listeners out there, just to let you know, we do an after party every night on the weekend. And you can find us at 970-335-9596. That's 970-335-9596. I'm trying to say that slow enough so you can write it down. And again, a special thanks to Mr. Bumblefoot. Thank you for letting us play your music. And like I said, PM me your address. I'll send you a thank you note.